Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Superior Adventurers Guild for a special holiday edition of Vaesen. We're going to get spooky. We're going to get jolly. We're probably going to get killed by evil creatures, but it's all in the name of good old-fashioned holiday fun. Really excited to be here as a player and host for tonight's game. Big shout out to the production crew, Miko for putting this together, and Christian, of course, the Bleakseason for bringing it live to the channel. A couple of quick important announcements. This is the second in our amazing holiday lineup of programming for the week. We have just so much great stuff going on. There's no way we're going to take a break this week. So we kicked it off with a case debrief last night for our Blade Runner campaign, which just ended and was absolutely fantastic. You can go check that out on VOD. Tonight, of course, our Vaesen special with this awesome production team who's been kicking out the content and helping make everything happen over the last couple months. And then tomorrow, Heroes of Greyhawk. We're going to find out what the heck is going on in Hamlet. And then on Wednesday, we're going back to Nieuwarden with Dungeon Mr. Ty and the crew. So lots of great stuff coming up. We really hope that you'll stick around and check out some of that action this week. A couple other things. If you want to get involved in any of the games that we're playing here on Guild Superior, jump into our Discord. Come on over, get to know us. There's a lot of great people over there. A lot of the folks that we hang out with in our Discord channel end up playing in the games here. And so that'd be an awesome way for you to get connected with us. We'd love to get to know you better. We're also on Twitter if you want to kind of connect with what our programming is and sort of up-to-date action with the guild. We'd love to interact with you there. We're really excited to have you in our chat. Being in the chat and interacting with us, engaging with us in chat is like the best. So thank you for that. If you feel like you are enjoying what you're seeing, give us a follow. And if you're a follower, hey, consider subscribing for a month and supporting what we do here. We turn things around and support other creators. And I'm excited that we're going to be showcasing some really cool custom artwork in the coming months for our Heroes of Greyhawk game. I've seen some sneak peeks and it's pretty rad. If you want to get involved in tonight's game, you can donate 100 bits to give a player of your choice advantage. And that means they get 2 extra dice to roll, which should ensure their success, I would hope. Although the dice gods, when they cometh hard and they bring the pain. And we've seen it happen many times. So you can help us out, help us avoid the pain, I guess. I want to give a couple of shout outs and thank yous. First of all, to Tabletop Audio. They are providing us with some awesome music. We are Patreon members of theirs, supporters of theirs, and we encourage you to do the same. And then, of course, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for Free League Publishing, who is creating these amazing settings and these rule sets that we play with and enjoy so much. We are absolutely thrilled to announce that we're going to be offering a couple of giveaways. The first of which is already open, you guys. If you type !drawing, Andy will show you how it's done. It's super easy. You'll be entered to win our first giveaway of the night, a digital copy of the Vaesen Core Rulebook. So we're going to give that away before we get started. Kristen, I'll wait for you to cue us in when we're ready to do that, because I think we'll do some introductions and things. Then we'll come on back around right before we get started, and we'll do the giveaway. So without further ado, my friends, thank you all for being here. Thanks for letting me play in this game, you guys. I'm very excited. Christian, take it away, my friend.
Where do you want me to take it to?
Take it to
Canada.
the limit.
Take it to Canada.
Downtown.
Hey, everybody. I'm the Bleakseason. I'll be your GM here tonight. Super excited to do this one with the production team. We've actually never, all of us, played together. We've all played together sort of separately in different things, but never all together at the same time. So that's super cool. I'm glad to get to do this. Also glad to be running Vaesen, one of my definitely all-time favorite games at this point. You know me, I'm Mr. Vaesen. I would like to, I guess, first and foremost, introduce these wonderful, amazing people that are not only the production team here at Guild Superior, also my friends, and also my players here tonight, gracing my table. They're gracing my table. They are here at my table. How about we start with the man who is my producer on Shadesong, the man who I rely on, who moves the maps and does the good things and, you know, keeps people in line. Monsieur Andy. How you doing, Andy?
Yep. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Andy, also known as Andy G3D, here on Twitch and our Discord server and in other places around the internet. I am super excited to be here. You can see me in this game, obviously, but also on Tuesday nights in our Heroes of Greyhawk game. And, you know, then I'm helping out producing Shadesong as well. But yeah. Are we introducing our characters too? I forgot.
We'll do that
bit.
when you get off the
A little
boat.
bit.
When you get off the boat.
Super stoked.
Awesome.
I don't know how to play this game, but I'm looking forward to it.
It's all right. Just roll some dice.
All right.
Basically what it comes down to.
I'll just roll stuff.
Cool. Happy to have you here, Andy. Next, the person who really out of all of us needs to work on her beard game. Ashley, Minnesota Muse. How you doing?
Step it up a little.
Yeah.
I think it's working out nicely,
It's filling in.
actually.
It's starting to.
Beard free.
Nice.
Hey everybody, I'm Ashley, Minnesota Muse 99 on Twitter. And you can find me. I'm a member of our Heroes of Greyhawk. I'm on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday you can find me for our New of Arden short shot 8-shot campaign. So we've got lots of really fun stuff that you can come and see me do all the accents that I know.
Which none of us can do.
We can't. We've proven that.
Oh, I think you can do some of them.
But it's so fun to try.
Yeah, it is. It is. But, none of us have the same timbre of voice, so it doesn't work out.
Yeah, no.
Super cool to have you, Ashley. Thank you for playing with us. I'm glad to be jamming for you for the first time. Thank you for being here. Next up, the man who produces these little Monday Night Mayhem, who puts the mayhem in Monday night, the okayest GM, my buddy Miko. What's up, Miko?
Woo.
Hi. Yeah, I do that thing. I produce this show most all of the time. And if you need to catch up with me, if you'd like to, you can hit me up on our Discords or on Twitter. I am at the _okayest_GM, or at least as long as Twitter is going to still be around. That dumpster fire as it is. Yeah. I am here to play and have fun for once rather than just sit back and produce. But since I'm doing both, we'll see which one falls through the cracks.
As long as I'm not the one falling through the cracks. You got it.
You're a pro. You're a pro. You got this.
You're a pro. We don't know a pro what, but a pro nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for joining us, Miko. And finally, the man who's our uncle, who keeps the lights on, who brings that fresh pine scent and the all the wild rice that we can handle.
Oh yeah,
Uncle Dave himself. What's up, Dave? How's it going?
Hi. Yes.
Why is your church burning? I don't understand why your church is burning.
Well, you don't know much about my congregation yet, but we'll get there. Trust
They're
me.
hot. They're hot.
Fire and brimstone.
It's a shit show. Hey everybody, you all know me. I'm DM Dave, Dungeon Dave, Dave, whatever. I hang out here on Guild Superior. Founded the damn thing, and I play games, produce games, and run games with my friends, and it's super fun. And I'm just absolutely thrilled that this production team has helped to expand what we've been able to do in terms of connecting people with games, bringing more people into the guild family, as it were, to engage and have fun and create community. And that's what it's all about here at Guild Superior. And that's been my dream for a long time. So thank you, all of you, for beautiful people, for helping to make that a reality. I really do appreciate it. I'm excited to be here, and we have a giveaway. I don't know is this the time when we do the giveaway? Are people getting in on the giveaway? You guys, seriously, we're giving away.
I've seen a few entries thrown out.
Okay, good.
Vamp Wickman's here, man. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Get in on this action! ! Drawing. This is going to be the first giveaway of the night. We'll do 2 more throughout the evening. We really want you to enjoy this Vaesen game as we have. It's been fun watching the games that have been played here, and now I'm excited to be part of it. So thank you all. Should we do this?
Yeah, sure, man. Go
Bleak,
for it.
can you do a 5-second countdown in your native tongue?
Oh, no. All right. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Arg Scott, congratulations, Arg. I'll reach out to you after the game is over tonight and connect you with some content. You have won the Vaesen digital core rulebook. We're going to be giving away 2 more of those tonight, so stick around, and you will have an opportunity to win. Thank you. Way to go, Arg.
Scott got in right under the wire there. I'm telling you, man, it's that last person in.
You think so? Last in, first win?
I mean, hey, Vamp, you just need to ask, man. You just need to tell me. You just need to say, Bleak, mess with him, and I'm gonna say, oh, look, the Darling Creep Show in the house. Also,
Big D
this place
Creep.
getting crowded. Big D Creep.
Are we also doing that physical today?
Yeah, so we're gonna do another digital giveaway after the break. You do have to be here to win. And then we're going to give away at the very end of tonight's session, we're going to give away a digital and a physical copy to one lucky winner. So we will let you know when those giveaways go live.
And all of these thanks to Free League Publishing, who agreed to sponsor us here tonight and give us these wonderful gifts to give everybody. So, props to the Free League. So I like to roll. I'm the Bleakseason, your GM here tonight. You can find me on the internet at the Bleakseason on Twitter, as long as that thing is still alive. And check out my website, bleakseason.com, where I talk a lot about my homebrew. And right here, although I'll be sort of on break for a little bit, aside from playing in Tuesday's game with Dave and Ashley and Andy in Greyhawk, I'll be on break for a couple of weeks. Thursday, I do have another Vaesen one-shot for charity over at Live from the Apocalypse channel. Thursday, same bad time as this. It'll be a different scenario, so no spoilers. You're good. Even if you see this one tonight, you can catch the other one. I think I saw Hawk, who's in the chat, who's going to be in that game also. Great players in that one also, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Yes, on Thursday, I say Hawk. All right. Anything else before we get this show on the road? So a little quick, very brief explanation about Vaesen. For those of you who don't know the game, it is a game that is set in the 1800s in Scandinavia. The players play characters who have something called the sight, who, due to some trauma in their past, have developed the ability to see Vaesen. Vaesen are these mythical folk spirit that inhabit the land that used to be much more present, but now have kind of faded in the back, but come back once in a while to mess with people, kind of like GMs do. And the players are characters who can see them and know how to banish them and deal with them. And so tonight they're being sent to this little town in the middle of nowhere, which I'll get into in a minute, in order to potentially deal with Vaesen. It is a very simple system to learn. As I think it was Ashley or Andy maybe said they didn't know how the system works, but most of us don't know here, but it's very simple. I'll explain as we go along so people can pick up also. It's a beautiful system. And it's a beautiful game. So hopefully this will give you all a taste for it and an interest in it. All right, so a little bit of background information about tonight. The Feast of Yule. So this game is set the night before the Feast of Yule. Yule is a very old Nordic word from pre-Christian times. It signifies a period of days around the winter solstice when people in Northern Europe welcome in the new year, or to put it another way, celebrate the rebirth of the sun by decorating trees and doing much drinking and feasting. At some point, it became popular to make a straw goat, probably because the last bundle of grain from the annual harvest was thought to contain the spirit of the harvest. So it was saved for the Feast of Yule. Some of the straw would be scattered over the floor and the rest made into a goat, known as a Yulebok. All this will be important later. Known as a Yulebok. People thought that the Yulebok would ensure that the preparations for the Feast of Yule were done correctly. A tradition developed of knocking hard on the front door of a house, leaving a straw goat with a joke verse, and then running away. The tradition is the origin of the word Yule clap, which is loosely Christmas present, which literally means a Yule knock. Gradually, knocking and running away became less common as the goat's role shifted towards becoming the giver of Christmas gifts. So in the 19th century, Christmas presents in Sweden were often distributed by a person dressed up as a Yulebok, at least wearing a goat's face mask. And so tonight we play a game that is set on the eve of Yule Feast, at a moment in time in Scandinavia where traditions are changing a little bit and moving towards the more commercialized version of Christmas that we know now. All right, everybody ready? Ready?
Sure.
All right. Let's get this show on the road. It is the eve of Yule Feast, and instead of being at home or at Hellstrom Manor, the four of you are freezing on the deck of a ferry that is taking you north to the small town of Östersund. The closer you get to the city, the more boats you see on the water, most of them carrying heavy burdens of logs. For Östersund, once only a small dot on the map, has become in recent years the center of a major logging operation run by the Sodra Timber Company. Everywhere you look now are mountains of logs, tree stumps, and lumberjacks work in the forest with axes, saws, and awl pikes. The town, when you finally begin to dock, is similar to many other small towns in the central part of Scandinavia. Small houses scattered about, surrounded by forest and a bit of farmland, everything covered in a fresh coat of slushy snow. The sky is gray and heavy, promising more bad weather before this is over. At the center of the village, you can see a decorated Yule tree, twice as high as any house, almost as high as the church bell tower. But it is poorly decorated, and the branches sag sadly. There are no children playing anywhere, and the few people you see who are not loggers hurrying to catch the last ferry home for Yule feast move hurriedly and cast suspicious glances about. This is a town that should be preparing to celebrate the brightest time of the long dark winter. Instead, it appears gripped by fear, the type of fear only a Vaesen can create. You've been sent here by your patron, a lawyer by the name of Bertolt Gerhardt, who has gathered around him a group of people with the sight and who sends people here and there to take care of issues that usually involve the Vaesen. He received a letter recently from a colleague of his Master Nilsson, from this town, saying that over the past few days, a number of people had been murdered in strange circumstances. It seems that some sort of goat-headed devil, as he described it, is running around, knocking on people's doors and killing them when they open the door. He suspects that the supernatural is the cause for this, and so he has asked Bertolt to send four of his people to check it out, as they say. As the boat arrives, let's go around and introduce your characters. Tell us a little bit about who they are and sort of what they do. And if you had an interesting little encounter during your travels here, feel free to throw it in there also. Let's go with the same order we went in before. Let's start with Andy.
All right. Tonight I am playing Marcus Hannevold, MD, a doctor, former naval officer, naval ship doctor. So he's used to traumatic injury and surgical procedures in emergency situations. And, you know, he's pretty well dressed. Dark overcoat, brown vest, shirt and tie, you know, a mustache that is fashionable for the day. And he is occupying himself with a book on the newly researched field of forensic science and examining corpses to try to tell cause of death and clues in crime scenes and stuff like that.
Excellent. It's a good book to be reading in your field, and so I will say it grants you an advantage later on in the game that you can call upon when needed. Following you off the boat would be Gabriella.
Gabriella Jov is, you can see that she used to be from quite an affluent family. However, things have changed drastically. So she's still kind of holding on to that, but you could tell that she's no longer being financed the same way as she was. She is a lady detective. And during this time on the ship, she is going to be going over the local papers and her notes regarding rumors and strange happenings that have been happening around the area for clues and combined threads to try to put together things that have happened to her in the past and things that may be happening in the surrounding areas.
Very good. You get a good sense of what's happening here, of the changing nature as I was talking about earlier, we're at a period where the nature of the festivities are changing, but so is society here in this small town that is becoming this main concern. Are being put on the map is obviously having an effect on people, and it's in the midst of change. There's a lot of big societal movements going on, and you get sort of a good sense of that and a good grasp of that. So very good. I'll say also that you can put a little advantage in a character sheet for later. Who knows when it'll come in handy, but it will, I'm sure. Following you off the boat, perhaps walking a little bit with a little bit more difficulty, is an older gentleman named Frederick.
Yes, Friedrich Rausling. He's an older man, much older than perhaps many folk would be if they were endeavoring to do such things as all of this. But thankfully for him, he has his very, very well appointed care guardian that keeps an eye out for him and makes sure that he does not stumble too much. An elk hound by his side, some 30, 40 pounds of very aggressive looking animal, but is the sweetest little baby girl on the planet. She goes by the name of Tindra, and her gaze is enough to melt the hardest of hearts if spent too long. And on this trip itself, much colder than his old bones can generally handle, he managed to find himself perusing one of the several small chapbooks that he keeps tucked away in the folds of his long coat, and garnered the attention of a sweet young little girl, apparently from the village that we were on our way to, where she happily inquired about the cuddly little Tindra, and he regaled her with a little tale of Tindra as a puppy, and made a new little friend, as it were, which, as he, the off-seeming old man as it is, manages to really, that's only the only attention that he gets these days. I suppose people think of him usually aptly as a doddering old fool.
I thought you were talking to me there with doddering old fool.
No, that's
excellent.
Me. That's me.
Beautiful doggy, beautiful Tindra. Very good. Same thing. You can certainly grab yourself a bit of an advantage for later, and I'm sure Tindra herself will be a good advantage for you later on in these proceedings. And finally, the last person off the boat, perhaps feeling a little tight around the collar, so to speak, would be...
Yes, Victor Nystrom, at your service, a man of the cloth, a man of, well, low standing with the church, if I do admit it. A very, very sad state of affairs back there at the congregation. But nevertheless, well, Victor, he has been all but defrocked for some of his, well, untraditional ways of proselytizing to the members of his dioceses. He often has been known to, well, be in a deep sleep, or perhaps a deeper than sleep status, after seeking perhaps wisdom in the bottom of a flask. Well, it helps him. You see, he often hears things that others don't, and well, it's troubling to the man who grew up with much faith in the church, but has all but recently done away with that bit. Nevertheless, I have joined my companions here and seek to get to the bottom of yet another mystery. During the travel, he, of course, is warming himself with a flask of aquavit, which he does not take in moderation. It tends to drown out the voices that he hears He'll often be seen speaking to himself, but others think that he's actually maybe praying, speaking in soft tones to his god, perhaps. But there's something else that sort of nags at him, almost like something behind his ear that whispers secrets to him. And well, on this particular journey, as he drifted into a drunken slumber, a vision of a Yulebach. A Yulebach, unlike anything he's seen as reading the local folklore and studying to prepare for this, made him perhaps grip his Bible all the more tightly in his drunken stupor. This Yulebach then, upon closer inspection, fall into pieces as white worms, and gathering perhaps a bit of a vision of what might lie ahead for him, whether it be here in this town, if you can call it that, or perhaps farther along in his fateful journey towards whatever hell is destined for him.
Well, Vaesen hunting is a tough racket, so bottoms up, and let's hope that these revelations that you had will bring you advantage later on in the game. As you disembark, normally in a regular Vaesen game, this would be a period where the players would get to go around and spend their resources to equip themselves. We've already done that so that we can get going. They've all chosen their items that they're carrying with them. As you disembark and see the loggers getting on the boat, and it's this like the last ferry home to get home in time for the feast of Yule tomorrow, you find yourselves standing amid a small town that is very strange because on one hand there's a lot of activity, a lot of business, a lot of people moving around with the loggers and so on and so forth, but the town itself looks poor. The houses are kind of run down and ramshackle. The people's clothing, the few people that you do see, because there's certainly not a lot of people walking the streets even though it's still early in the day. There seems to be this pall that's hanging over the city and sort of or the town, and it's sort of making everyone a little bit of fearful. You know that your first stop will be the lawyer's office, but as you travel there and you ask for directions and someone directs you over to the office, if you wish to converse a little bit as you go there, walk and talk as they say, please feel free to do so.
You're looking a little rough, Victor. Maybe you should leave off the sauce.
Well, how observant of you, Lady Gabriella. Of course, you would be able to detect a bit of... Yes, I do smell a bit of the akavit.
It's not hard.
Perhaps a child's candy store or something could freshen up me breath, but... look out! He kind of stumbles in the snow a little bit and slides into Marcus. Oh, thank you, sir.
Watch your
Doctor.
step, man. I don't blame you for a sip or two. That was a tedious ride.
Chilled the bones.
I have some sleeping pills if you would rather use that than drink, but I don't recommend that you use both.
No.
Probably not a good idea.
Not when we're on the clock, isn't that right,
Oh, that's
Frederick?
true.
I'm sorry, what? Oh,
Clocks.
tucking the book away back into his jacket pocket and hobbling on his very artful cane. Yes, right. Where is it we're going off to again? Some lawyer's office, yes?
Indeed.
Right. We're going to be speaking with Lars Nielsen.
Right, young Mr. Nielsen. I do remember.
I thought he was an old chap. Wasn't he an older chap?
Was he?
I've never met him.
No,
I've-
I think Bertold described him to me as
No,
young.
he's I know what you're thinking of. I'm sorry for the guy. He is an older gentleman. I know why you're saying that, but Nielsen is a slightly older gentleman of the same age as perhaps Dr. Marcus.
Right, but young by comparison to.
Oh, to you, yeah. Well, everybody's young.
That's what I picked up on,
The
yeah.
Earth is young
Exactly.
by comparison.
Yeah.
Young pup.
Yes.
Speaking of pups, your friendly dog whose name I forget. What's the name of your dog? Nitra?
Indra.
Tindra.
Sorry?
Indra.
Indra. Is obviously feeling a little out of sorts here. She sticks really closely to you. Her tail is kind of down and it's not wagging, and you can tell, that she feels a little sort of uncomfortable and is kind of looking around, and she can definitely sense that there's something not quite right in the area, which is certainly a sign that you've learned not to overlook.
I will reach into my pocket and produce one of the small hardtack dog treats that are there, and kneel down to her. And it's all right, young girl. We'll get through this as we always do, won't we, Dr. Marcus? You'll see to all of our safety, yes?
Oh, absolutely.
By hook or by crook. As you traverse the city, and you eventually find yourself arriving at one of the few buildings that's still in fairly good condition. It's standing a little bit apart from the others. There's a little bit of a stone walkway leading up to it, and there's, in the snow in the front, there looks like there was maybe like 6 or 7 people here earlier. Like, the snow has been tramped everywhere, and it's clear there was a lot of action at the front door this morning. And as you approach the steps that lead up, and you see the sign that says Master Nielsen, solicitor, as you approach the 2-3 stone steps that lead to the door, even without much of a investigative mind, you can clearly see that there is blood on the steps.
Egad.
What is this?
Do you think it's still here?
I'm
Look
gonna lean
sharp.
down, take a close look at it. Does it look like it's fresh, or has it been here for a while?
No, it's definitely been here for a few hours. It's been trampled on by booted feet, and it's clearly been here for a little bit. It doesn't look like a lot of blood, more like it dripped off of someone or something on their way out of the office.
Bleak. Victor's going to, as they're looking at the blood, kind of scan around the surroundings. Are there people taking note of their arrival? Are there people lingering that look like maybe they want to be spoken with, or trying to hide anything? Just sort of a general lay of the land.
In fact, you see a lot of faces behind half-drawn curtains, sort of thing, kind of keeping an eye out. And as you've approached the lawyer's office, people have kind of hurried and gone into their homes, and the doors are closed. And it's very eerie because you see that giant tree that's kind of partially decorated, and you would expect kids and stuff like that, but it's very quiet.
Seems
Just a wind rustling.
Seems as though the welcoming committee may have the day off. Hello. He kind of just raises a hand for a moment and then puts it down.
Is the door wide open, or
No, it's closed.
it's closed?
There's a knocker on it, if you want.
I'm gonna go up and knock on the door.
It takes a few minutes, and then you hear, coming. Damn, I stepped in it again. And the door eventually opens, revealing a young man, very dashing, very good looking, with a bit of a mustache, also well dressed, and much like Friedrich, he is using a cane, and he appears to have a bit of a limp in his walk as he opens the goes. Yes, how may I help? Are you the people from Uppsala? Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
that would be us.
Excellent. I'm very sorry. Please, mind the blood. And as you walk into, if you want to look at Albert Rodeo, I've put up a bit of a map. This is the young man that is answering the door for you there. You see a lot more blood, as well as a lot of slush and snow. So people have been tracking in and out of this place. And there's quite a bit of blood on the carpet and on the floor near the entrance. There's what looks like maybe was like a flower pot or something next to the door that has been shattered on the ground. Part of the wall has a bit of an indentation in it, as if something heavy was kind of pushed into it. And he welcomes you in. He says, "Please mind the blood. I'm very sorry. Unfortunately, we had a bit of a situation here just before you arrived.
This is a good amount of blood. Does somebody need help? I am a doctor.
No, I'm afraid it's too late for that. The Master Nielsen has passed, unfortunately, from his wounds. They were just here not too long ago to take his body away. He seems very shaken. He seems very shaken by his... please, do come in and let's close the door. I think it's best if we speak inside. It's dreadful cold out there. So he leads you in, and as you walk in, trying to avoid, messing with the blood and the scene even further, he'll take you into the small room here on the side, which is, you guess, sort of his office. It's nice and warm in here, and you're starting to thaw out a little bit from your walk and your ferry ride over. You come in and he kind of hobbles over and he sits on the edge of his desk and he's like, "Please, take a seat. I'll get to some tea or something. I sent the maid home. She was way too shaken up after she found Master Nielsen. I'll make some tea in a moment. I would just like to rest a little bit, if you don't mind. But please, do sit."
Victor's, before he sits, scans the room for any alcohol or aperitif. Is there any bottle of anything anywhere?
No, you don't see any of that in here, actually.
He just makes a tisk tisk with his under his breath and moves to a chair. "Good man, are you injured yourself?"
"Oh, this is an old wound. Unfortunately, a very old wound from before I was born. I was unfortunately born with a club foot, and he lifts his pants a little bit, and you can see that his foot is, it looks like it's kind of in the right place now, but it looks kind of swollen and big. It's like they were able to repair it to a certain degree, but I still have difficulty walking with it sometimes. But I'm fine. It's just I've been standing on my feet for a very long time. When the lawmen were here earlier, and the local doctor seeing to the body of Master Nielsen, I was standing for a long time. I just need to rest a little bit. So you... Master Nielsen said that he had sent for people who specialize in, how did he put it, investigations that deal with things not quite of this world. Is that correct, or am I making a total arse of myself?"
That's us.
You are correct, sir. Let me introduce you to Lady Gabriella, the preeminent investigator of... where are we from again? Uppsala?
Uppsala, yeah.
Uppsala. Perhaps you've heard of her.
I have not, but you do strike quite the inquisitive figure. I'm sure you're wonderful. And he shakes your hand very politely.
Charmed.
No, pleasure's mine.
Where is the body of your master now?
He's been taken to the local infirmary. Unfortunately, his family is with him right now. It was quite terrible. I have to say, I myself didn't believe these stories that were going around of some sort of devilish figure doing these murders, but having now seen it, I'm quite shaken to my core. I've never seen anything quite like it.
You've seen a creature, you say?
Oh, fleetingly, there was a knock at the door, a very loud knock, and of course, with everything that's been going on, people have been worried about answering the doors, but Master Nielsen thought, "Oh, it's the daytime. Nothing ever happens in the daytime," and so he went, and he was expecting some people to come in that were needing his services and so on and so forth. So he went to answer the door. I asked him to let me go, but he wouldn't, and I had a little bit of difficulty getting from behind my desk. All I heard at first was the door opening and Master Nielsen screaming, and then I heard this horrible sound, this horrible guttural sound, and I heard this loud bark. And when I turned the corner, I saw Master Nielsen flying back as if he'd been struck by a bull or something, and his head was split open and blood was spilling everywhere, and he fell into the house. And very fleetingly I saw, turning away in the doorway, this figure wearing this long red coat, and, well, believe me when I say that I'm not a drinking man. I myself believe in temperance, but you could have told me that I was blind drunk when I saw what I saw, and I would believe you. It looked like the face of a goat, a black
Didn't you
goat.
say that the maid found him?
Yes, she was here with me. She came in at the same time, and she saw him lying there, and she screamed, and she almost passed out, the poor thing. And then I was trying to hold her up, and then I was trying to hold myself up, and I was watching Master Nielsen bleeding on the ground, and I saw this thing run away. And well, eventually we screamed loud enough that people came to our rescue and came to help us. But it's the most devilish thing I've ever seen.
And where is the maid? What is her name?
I've sent her home, Ingrid. I've sent her home with her family. As I said, she was quite shaken. The dog tried to use smelling salts on her to bring her back to her senses. I think she'll be all right, but it's not the kind of thing that you can see and just walk away from unscathed, you know?
Of course, but she was the sole witness to the incident.
I don't think she saw any more than I did. We arrived in the room pretty much at the same time. She was tidying up in the room on the other side, putting out a basket of apples, I believe, for a guest. Our Master Nielsen always likes to have some fresh fruits in the waiting room for people who come and see him to take. And she was in the other room putting out some apples, I believe. And so we came at the same time into the corridor and saw what we saw.
Are you a man of faith, sir?
I go to church, if that's what you're asking.
What do you believe you saw?
Well, sir, I don't mind telling you that until I'm proven otherwise, I believe I saw the devil himself, sir.
Big bushy eyebrow just goes up.
And he wasn't the first one. That's what's most damnable about all this. The reason he wrote to his colleague to ask you to come. There's been others the past few nights.
How many is that now?
With Master Nielsen, it's 3.
3.
The first one was Carl Lindbergh, the bailiff. And then last night was Judge Ingrid Bolso, retired judge. And this morning, Master Nielsen.
Pardon an old fool for chiming in here. Friedrich has been sitting down in the chair, half falling asleep because of exhaustion from the extremely long journey and trek that his very old bones have undertaken. He is perked up. I imagine the attentive among us, Gabriella, might notice that there is a small book at his hip that he obviously has been jotting some notes into, nonetheless, as he clears his throat. I don't mean to be rude or inconsiderate to the dead, of course, but I'm very curious. You mentioned the others that had unfortunately passed, the bailiff and a retired judge and now a barrister. I mean, I can't help but draw the logical conclusion that they are linked in professions and now linked in their demise.
They were also friends. They were sort of the aldermen of the city. They were the sort of unofficial city council, if you will, who made a lot of the decisions.
And I'm curious, is there anyone invariably that might have not perhaps liked some of their decisions or counsel, perhaps, from the past or even recent circumstance?
Well, I think... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Any enemies or, people who just didn't like them very well.
Well, as I can certainly say, as someone who works on the side of the law, and I'm dreadfully sorry, I did not take the time to introduce myself. My name is Ansgar Gustafsson. I am Master Nielsen's secretary and paralegal secretary. One who works in the law invariably is forced to take sides and make decisions that don't sit well with certain people. It's, in some ways, perhaps, Doctor, you can corroborate this, but people only come to see you when they're in trouble. And if your answers don't satisfy them, some of them can be less than pleasant to deal with. But this is a small town. It's a small community. Everyone knows everyone, and everyone's quite friendly. I can't imagine that anyone here would have any sort of bone to pick drastic enough to want to murder one person, let alone three of them.
Oh, I don't mean to question anyone from your lovely town. I'm sure everyone has the best of intentions here, and the circumstance could be any number of things. I'm, merely trying to just explore all possibilities.
Well, I thought of this, and one of the first things that I thought of was perhaps it was some sort of question of robbery or so on and so forth. But look here, and he looks on his desk and he pulls out, he's got like a gold pocket watch and there's like a gold pen, and these things were still on Master Nielsen after he was killed, and even here in the house there are things of value. There's his gold coin collection here, these gold fountain pens, these things were still here.
Young man, you have just been through a very traumatic experience, and we all want you to take very good care in this moment. I believe you when I say that there was ill intent involved here, and I'm not such attributing it as happenstance and of someone trying to nab some measure of wealth, although that is a good motivation in most cases. The fact that this is the third such demise in any number of days perhaps points away from such things. I'm merely suggesting that whilst your account of the devil might have some accuracies to it, we should always rule out the more mundane explanations before we get into the realms of what my good fellow here with the faith would know as the more higher things that might be cause such dread.
You certainly are the professionals. In fact, if you'll excuse me, I think I'll take these things and put them in the safe in the back. If you'll give me just a moment, I don't feel comfortable leaving Master Nielsen's things here. And he picks up like all the gold stuff and the gold coin collection and the watches and the fountain pens, and so I'll be right back if you don't mind. And he goes off into the office in the back, and you'll hear him like mess around with a locker or something, but you're alone in the room for a moment.
Victor's immediately standing up, pacing around the room, kind of lifting up papers, maybe kind of like poking around, mainly looking for liquor, but also clues. And he says to the group, perhaps there is a matter of record that could connect that link that you speak so fondly of, Frederick. It is not unlike men of this status to be connected in various businesses that could indeed lend themselves to gathering, enemies.
I like how you're thinking. Gabriella will immediately go over to the desk and start looking for letters, some kind of correspondence, possibly a threat letter or something that has happened recently.
Okay, so a couple of you are checking out the desk. What are the other two doing?
I'm sitting on my arse, but as that young man was leaving the room, I think that given we have a prior relationship, I would have subtly indicated to Dr. Marcus to perhaps step over to the door and watch. But other than that, Friedrich is happily resting his bones and petting young Tindra at his side.
Not a spot of liquor in the house.
I think there's some candy over here, though.
Ah,
And what is Marcus doing?
He will walk back over and just be shaking his head to himself that they walked right through the crime scene. And he'll be going back over and kind of just trying to piece together impact, splatters, like, where the first wound, if there was more than one collision that happened, or, stuff like that, what this broken item is down on the floor by the door.
I see what's happening here. Marcus is like a combination of Dexter and Sherlock Holmes. I think we figured it out, guys.
So Victor and
Watson. Don't forget Watson.
Watson, that's right.
Elementary.
Victor and Gabriella, since you're checking out the desk, if you want to give me an investigation roll, and then one can assist the other, lending one extra dice rather than both of you rolling. And Marcus, if you want to give me
Gabriella.
Marcus, if you want to give me, it'll be an investigation roll. Actually, do a medicine roll, actually, Marcus. So, Marcus, you'll roll medicine plus precision. Gabriella, you'll roll your investigation plus logic, plus a dice for Victor helping you. Plus, if you're using your, I don't know if you'd really be using your magnifying glass though for this particular thing. But
And we're rolling d6s?
Yeah.
Is that what this is for this game?
Yeah. So roll number d6 equal to all those things, and then let me know if and how many sixes you're getting.
I did just think of one thing that I think Friedrich would probably be doing with the young man leaving the room. He would probably pull out his book and at least be skimming through it for any references to goat-headed demon.
Okay. Cool.
And you were gonna help me, Dave? Did you?
Yeah.
say?
So you had an extra D6 from the assistants.
One more. Out of all that, I rolled 9 times. I got 1 6.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
Despite rolling 7, I only got a 5.
Okay. Do you want to push that roll? If you push that roll, you will be gaining a mental condition, which will give you a penalty on future rolls. However, you can, if you have time a little bit later, take some time to think on your memento and recuperate from it and fix it. But it will allow you to re-roll all your dice.
Ooh.
And it's only one condition. It's
Only one condition. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. Like
You get 3 conditions and
experience-wise.
you're broken, right?
Yeah. Pushing's part of the fun.
We need that
You will
emote, Dave. We
Eventually
need
you'll
that
have
emote.
to push.
You will
Push it.
get information even without the success. I'm just saying.
Okay,
like,
I
if you
think
want.
I'm going to hold off for now. I don't know
Okay.
if this is
Perfectly fine.
Gonna
So
deal
we'll start
with
with you actually. So what it looks like to you after sort of checking it out is the story really holds up in that he went to the door and opened it, and then he received a blow that was hard enough to push him back probably about 10 feet and into the wall, where he made a decent dent, and the blood that has sprayed is basically his head was cracked open, and like as he was falling back, sprayed blood everywhere. And then where he landed, there's a bit more blood that has pooled. As far as what you're seeing, everything kind of holds up with what you've been told so far. The shards that are on the floor just seem to be, as I was saying when you came in, perhaps a flower pot or something that's on a little table next to the door. And the door, when the door opened, it would have knocked that out. So the sense that you're getting is that he opened the door part ways, saw something, and then tried to close the door, and then the door was kind of pushed open and he received the blow that sent him reeling back. And you would say that that blow probably didn't kill him on the spot, but it certainly you wouldn't have lasted very long after that.
As Victor's watching, kind of peeking over at the doctor, the good doctor, he just says, "Well, it appears as though this particular jewel knock was not as funny as some of the others, eh?" Oh, good God.
Meanwhile, Gabriella, searching the desk, you come across a bunch of papers that have been pulled out, and they seem to be like in a folder that was kind of bound together, and there's no names or anything written. Normally, there's like a place on top of the folder that would say like the name of the case or the name of the people or some sort of indication. This folder has nothing on it, and when you open it, there's just a few papers. And when you go through them, you realize that they are copies of deeds to several hectares of land that were gifted by one Nicholas Rod to all the victims that have been named so far. Carl Lindberg, the bailiff, Judge Ingrid Bolso, and the lawyer, Lars Nilsson, as well as a deed to of land being given to the church in town to the name of Minister Petra Olsen. All these were given by this Nicholas Rod, and all of these are dated 7 years earlier. You don't really know what land it is or where it is or whether it's valuable or anything like that, but that deed's in there. And
These
as
are copies?
no, these are the original, and they were signed by the lawyer, and of course, Nicholas Rod. As you're sort of going through that and see everything that you got there, the other thing. First of all, let me ask you: is there anything you want to do with this? Do you want to just sort of put it back? Do you want to keep it? What do you want to do?
Oh, if they're original deeds, I don't want to necessarily steal them. But if they were copies, I would certainly steal them.
Well, they look to be the real thing. Like you're kind of your detective sense is telling you that because it's kind of in a hidden folder, this was probably a very sensitive thing, so they probably would not have made extra copies to be lying around and be found. So you're figuring it's probably the only ones, and they're very old and from 7 years ago. You don't think that taking is a great idea, but
Frederick, you're taking notes, right?
Yes, Gabrielle. Feel free. List away.
I'm gonna start reciting the addresses.
And Friedrich will dutifully write them down as fast as his old fingers will allow.
Okay. As you're doing that, and Victor, as you're coming back from having made your little Yule clap joke, you notice there's a trash bin next to the desk, and it's overflowing with papers and things that look like mail. Like if someone was to send something through the mail, that would sort of like wrappers for boxes sent through the mails and stuff like that. And there's like a whole bunch of them, and strings and things of that nature.
Is there, I'll kind of just push them around and dig through them. Are they concealing anything? Is there anything underneath them? If I look at the actual papers themselves, are there any markings on them?
Yeah. So they are the wrappings from several packages. You don't have to remember all these different things. That's fine. If ever you need them, I'll just tell you again. But so you have Olofsson Mercantile and Textiles, Uppsala, Sundin Books and Rarities, Oslo, Factory Metalworks, Gothenburg, Seven Sisters Jewelers, Bern, Switzerland, Geppetto Toy Shop, Wessenberg. So there were parcels that came from all those different places over the last
Sent to
few days, like
Barrister
sent to-
Nielsen's.
yeah.
Okay.
Anything
Look
else
at this, Gabriella.
Sorry.
I'll kind of point it out to Gabriella, and I'll name off some of these things so Frederick can also jot them down in his wonderful notes.
All potential leads. It does seem like the individuals who have been attacked all received a parcel of land. That's something to look into. maybe somebody wanted it.
Perhaps there is a plot map for the county, which we might inquire to see where these parcels rest on the landscape.
And perhaps we should keep an eye on this. Peter Olsen?
Petra Olsen.
Petra? Oh, Petra? Or
Yeah, Petra.
Petra Olsen. They're the only one who hasn't been attacked.
As she's saying that, Friedrich, Indra will sort of, her ears will perk up, and she'll look in the direction of the door where Roller's assistant had gone, and you get the sense that she senses that he's on his way back.
I tuck it back. I close the folder and tuck it back under wherever it was.
He comes back into the room. I'm sorry, I just didn't feel well leaving his belongings out in the open like this. They belong to his family. I'm sure they'll want them back. Is there anything I can help you with? Do you have any questions or anything else I might answer? I'd like to be as much of help as possible.
Well, I'm curious, young Ansgar. These were men of great importance to the town and the people here. You are of the town. Who else should we be mindful of as potentially those that, if this situation were to reach their doorstep, could go badly?
Well, the other alderman of the city would be Mother Olsen, the minister of the church. She was not as socially friendly with the rest of the men, mostly because they were all
Men.
heavy drinkers. Yes, men, but also heavy drinkers. And of course, the mother does not, but she was certainly seen as an equal to them as far as decision making in the town.
Petra Olsen, you said. And
yes, Mother Olsen, yes.
I'm sorry, Mother Olsen. My
No,
apologies.
please.
Where might the best place for us to have a discussion with her be?
Usually at the church. It's just, and he points kind of out the window. If you just go across town, and you'll have to go up a little bit. There's a hill there.
The tallest building in the town. That's how it usually goes.
Yes, that's right. She's normally around there.
I am sure that my companions, certainly not I, but my companions would be able to find her quite easily enough. And you, my young friend, I'm assuming that you'll retire from here for the evening, but should we have any additional questions that you might be able to answer, where might the best place be for us to find you?
Oh, well, so he grabs a piece of paper and he starts writing hastily down on it. He says, I'll be here for a while still. Just, I will try to make sure that all of Master Nielsen's affairs are sort of in order, and I need to find his will and his paperwork for his wife. Then I'll be going over to the family home. They've been really good to me and almost like a second family to me. So I'll be going to see them, and I'll bring this to them. And I've put the address there, and then my own lodgings are over at this address here. And so I would assume that shortly before dinner time, I'll be there if ever there's any other issue. I hope you can. I hope you can find a cause for all this, whether it be a devil or something else. These were good people that did not deserve what happened to them, and this town is facing some hard times, and I can only imagine what this will do to the people, especially on the eve of Yule feast like this. It's a tragedy of unimaginable consequence, I would think, for this town. So, please, if there's anything you can do to help us.
As he is saying all of this, Friedrich is slowly rising to his feet because he doesn't do anything fast. And around the time that he finishes, he takes a few more steps towards the young man and walks up to him, hobbling with his cane, but with a purpose and with an air of grandfatherliness as he fixes his gaze upon the young man and says, "You have been through much. You do what you can for that family. Focus on them. Focus on yourself. And These fine people, and he gestures around to his companions, are among the best in the business at investigating all manner of strange things, and I am certain that they will find all the answers to this dire predicament. You are doing well, young man. You will be well. And he extends a hand to him.
Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. And he shakes your hand.
Turns around, looks at the rest of his companions. So yes, do we have any other questions, or should we go and perhaps see Miss Olsen?
Are we in the Mr. Nielsen's office now? Is this his office?
No, this is my office, my own office. Yes, Mr. Nielsen's office is back there, and there's a meeting room over there, and the waiting room is just across the hall.
I think we should take a look at his office before we leave.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's a good idea. His clients are still deserve the privilege of their privacy. I'll tell you what. Let me verify. Whilst the judge is gone, the bailiff's gone. Let me see what I can do. If I can find a way to grant you access to it. Unfortunately, for now, I would have to insist that you not go in there. You understand, I'm sure.
I understand. Well, was there anything Mr. Nielsen was planning on giving to us? Anything he might have prepared for our arrival?
No, in fact, he was quite secretive. He told me he had summoned people to help in answering sort of questions. I honestly, I thought, well, Miss Gabriella here is perhaps what I was expecting, detectives or even perhaps police officers of some sort. I certainly wasn't expecting a doctor and a priest and a kindly old fellow like you, but he was very worried. He was very secretive, though. We received several packages. Most of these were gifts for his families and his friends. He was a very generous man. But as far as I know, I'm the one who received all his mail, and I opened everything, and I don't think that there was anything in it that I would think stood out or would seem to have been for you specifically. But
these packages you speak of,
yes.
were they sent from clients? Mr. Nielsen's?
No, he had a very good year financially, and he wanted to sort of raise everyone's spirits. So he had several gifts brought in from all over Scandinavia, really, that he ordered by mail as far back as a few months ago. And well, it's my job to open everything and wrap everything up. And he points at the locust, the Yule tree that's at the end of his and you can see like a whole bunch of gifts underneath there. It's like, as these will be the last things that his children and his wife, his brother and sister get from him. It'll be a sad Yule feast, that's for sure.
Yes, indeed, it will. But with loss comes opportunity, young man, and well, as my kindly old friend Frederick suggested, you would be good to be with your family on this eve.
I will certainly do so, and perhaps we can find some way tomorrow morning for me to take some of the more sensitive files and put them aside and give you access to his office if you think that this would help.
That would be lovely.
And if you find anything odd, please let us know. Contact us.
Well, it'll be very difficult to out-odd this morning's events, but I'll certainly keep an eye out. Thank you so much. You've given me a little bit of confidence. And so, with that, you head out?
Yeah,
As
let's go over to see. Let's go see the Mother Olsen.
As you're about to leave the office, Gabriella, you're leading, and as you reach for the door handle, you open it, and your eyes go wide as you see standing in front of you this goat-headed figure with smoke coming out of its ears and red eyes and this red clay sort of billowing, and it says, Gabriella. And then you kind of blink and you realize there's nothing there, and the rest of you just saw her kind of open the door and...
Are you okay, Gabriella?
Sorry, I think I haven't been getting enough sleep. I don't know. My imagination's getting away from me.
Well, here, let me take an arm. Let's carry on. He kind of holds out his arm for her.
Sure, I'll take it. I'll just pat his arm. All right.
A very good idea. And Friedrich reaches up and grabs Marcus's arm.
It's slippery out there.
Okay. All right.
There's a lot
Awesome.
of blood in the hallway there, young man. Surely you're willing to help me.
Absolutely. Watch your step. In the Navy, we'd sprinkle sand.
Yeah, no one likes
think it's
falling
quite
in a
slick.
puddle of blood.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time, but...
That's true.
Well,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say it was quite a surprising turn of events.
Indeed. Oh, Mr. Nielsen.
Very suspicious that all of the murder victims had property that was gifted by a Nicholas Rod.
And they were
Did-
all in legal capacities, in terms of employment, right?
It's true.
Gabrielle, was there anything in those notes regarding Mother Olson and perhaps any properties that she would have been connected to?
Yes, she's the only one of the people listed on those deeds that has not been murdered yet, which is why I think we should get over to her right away.
Hasn't been murdered yet, as far as we know.
Dun, dun,
I think that
dun.
is a very good idea.
Well, then let's
So is
just
it-
proceed post haste. And Friedrich picks up his step, which is not faster at all.
My arm gets slightly pulled forward.
Tindra keeps like walking slowly and then realizing she's ahead
And
and then
sits.
circling back.
Sits and
Yes.
waits.
Sits and waits for him.
Legs.
Um, As you walk through the town, you can feel the eyes looking at you again through pulled curtains, and it's a little later now, slightly past noon, and already the light has dimmed a lot as we are far north, and so there's only a few hours of real daylight out here. You can see the smoke from the chimney stacks now from the various houses that just sort of add to this dark, sort of oppressive atmosphere that's sort of hanging out over this particular village. And as you climb the slight hill up to the church, which you see is a fairly modest church. It is the tallest building here in the city, but it is still a fairly modest church, especially compared to the types of churches and stuff that you would see in Uppsala, for example. You arrive and you can see that on the church steps there's this fairly matronly woman with red hair sort of tied up in a bun, wearing robes of office of a minister. A little bit further away from her, there are a few kids playing, making a snowman. They seem kind of very listless and very kind of just not, super into it, but she's keeping an eye on them as they're building this snowman. And just across the way from them is the cemetery of the village. And Marcus, as you see the cemetery, you certainly feel a little something stir within you as you linger, perhaps watching these weird twisted trees in it with new trees with like snow on the branches, and there's like a little bit of a fog that's kind of hanging out over these tombstones, and all of them are kind of old and weathered, and most of them are made out of wood, a few are made out of stone. It's very packed. There's definitely like room for making a much bigger place, like they're almost like on top of each other at this point. And as you approach, the woman on the steps will turn and see you coming and go, Oh, good day. And she'll start walking to sort of meet you. How are you today?
Well, thank you. Are you Mother Olsen?
I am. Oh, I'm sorry. And she comes over to Victor. Pleasure to meet you. I am Mother Olsen. And she extends a hand to you.
Father Victor Nystrom, the
Father,
pleasure
it's
is mine.
Pleasure
Olsen.
to meet you. Please step on up. Let's get a little bit out of the wind here. It can get here on the side of the river. The wind can get very, very chilling. Let's step up, and so you go back up to sort of where she was on the steps where the church sort of cuts out most of the wind. You see the kids. There's like maybe 5 or 6 kids that are kind of kicking around, sort of half-heartedly making the snowman and sort of playing, and she keeps sort of looking over to them.
Shall we enter the church and gather ourselves with some warmth?
Unfortunately, it's their playtime. I really don't like cutting it off unless I really have to. They're cooped up inside so much these days. These are the orphans of the village. You'll understand. And so I'd rather not cut their playtime. I mean, are you okay? She looks at Friedrich. Are you okay, sir? Will you be all right out here?
I'll be fine, don't worry. But perhaps the conversation that everyone would like to have would be better suited to be inside. I and my young companion here will be happy to keep watch on the younglings. And he just kind of says, "Come, Tindra," and he starts like walking in the direction of the children.
It is true. What we have to speak of is not meant for the ears of children.
Very well. I'll give you a few minutes, but just in the vestibule where I can still keep an eye on the children, if you don't mind. And so she'll take you inside, just inside like the front area, and close the doors. There's like a couple of windows there, and she can sort of keep an eye out on the children. Those of you with fairly high empathy will just get the sense that she's, obviously very I don't say disturbed, but definitely worried. And you can tell that the idea of leaving the kids alone out there with some men she doesn't know, like, this is really not sitting with her. And she keeps looking out the window. To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit? You just arrived in town, are you?
I am Gabriella Jov, private detective.
No, pleasure to meet you, ma'am.
I was asked to come here, we all were, by, sorry, I have to go find his name.
Nielsen?
Nielsen.
And...
Oh, terrible what happened to him this morning, I heard. Are you police investigators then? Oh, it's a small town. Police investigators then, are you?
I'll just introduce myself as Dr. Marcus Hannevold.
Oh, quite a motley crew.
Well, we are all specialized. It makes our jobs much easier.
I mean, what? Then she looks at Victor. And what exactly is your specialty in matters of such investigations, Father, if I may ask?
Well, Mother Olsen, you could say that I speak for the church in matters of, well, strange occurrences. And indeed, the reports that have come from your quaint, quite charming little snowy village here suggest that perhaps an outside perspective is needed to uncover the mystery of what's happened to some of the aldermen of your and your colleagues. In fact, we do have some questions for you, if you wouldn't mind.
Please, and she keeps looking at us. No, please go ahead. I hear all sorts of tales of some devilry afoot, and I'm not quite sure what to make of them. But yes, if I can help in any way, please ask.
Have you had anything strange happen to you recently?
No, not that I can say. People don't usually come and do any sort of Yule clapping at the door of the church, and well, in these parts, people are still clinging to the old ways a lot. So I can't say that my flock is very extensive here. I, in fact, find most of my work to be caring for these unfortunate orphan children who really don't have much. This is always such a sad time of year for them.
It is a good vocation, Mother Olsen, to care for those who do not have others to care for them. The work you do is very important. No,
Well,
nonetheless,
as you know, I'm sure we are called to this. We don't choose it. It is the higher voice that speaks to us and sets us on the righteous path. I'm sure you know, Father.
well, we all have our own paths to where we've ended up, don't we? The size of the religious community is not quite as important as the amount of faith that they have.
It's true,
Please.
and it's about the same here.
Indeed, indeed.
But how can I help? No, I have not noticed anything. I mean, is there anything specific I should be on the lookout for? Do you think there's danger? Is there danger to the children?
Well,
I'm not sure if there's any danger to the children, but I would not answer any knocks that you had on your door. Perhaps look out one of the parish windows before you open it. There's some individual or perhaps creature who has been attacking people when they open the door.
Well, if it is a creature, I don't think it would find it in itself to walk up to the house of the Lord and dare commit violence upon this holy ground. So I almost fear humans more than I feel creatures.
Well, just consider it a human then.
to speak frankly, at first glance, the description of the crimes have us a little concerned for your safety.
How so?
The victims up until this point have all been aldermen of the town.
Oh, yes, but I'm really not anything like that. They had their little group of men who sort of ran things, and at best I was called upon to advise once in a while when I guess it suited their fancy to come in and talk to me about things. I certainly would consider myself part of that group.
Do you happen to know an individual named Nicholas Rod?
Oh yes, yes I do. Poor man.
And
What does Nicholas have to
yes.
do with this?
His name has
Was
come
he
up.
killed also?
I am not aware of that, but his name
Oh.
did come up. And I wasn't sure, as I'm new in town. I don't know anything about him. Could you tell us, what does Nicholas do in town?
Nicholas, this doesn't do much. The Rod family had some money. The two brothers inherited it, and they, for all intents and purposes, founded this village. They used to own most of the farmland around here, and at some point the father sold out a lot of that farmland and allowed people to come here and build houses and basically build this town. And after they passed, the two brothers carried that on. Nicholas was, or is rather, I should say, well, Nicholas was always good to the orphans. He would always bring them presents and food for them to have a jolly feast, but he's not been the same since his brother Anders passed a few years ago.
How long ago was that he passed?
His brother passed on would be 7 or 8 years ago now.
Oh, interesting.
He died of consumption, dreadful malady that takes so many of our people. Nicholas was heartbroken. Anders, I knew Anders a bit more. He was a believer. He never confessed much or even gave tithe. He was a bit of a tight-fisted with his money, but Nicholas is more of a pagan, I guess. But he was always looking out for the children.
Very kind of him.
He was. In fact, after his brother died, he made a rather generous land donation to the church in his brother's name to build a new sacristy, expand the cemetery, and expand the orphanage facilities. Unfortunately, though we have the land now, we do lack the funds to actually build any of these things. But I hold out hope that someday we will be able to do this and expand our facilities to help the children, and of course to provide a better resting place for the people who pass on who deserve it.
You have foreseen, perhaps, uncannily, a line of questioning which we are quite interested in. These gifts of property, the one to the church, I imagine it is adjacent to where we are now. Is there some significance to this property? We noticed that you and some of the other aldermen, the ones who met their unfortunate demise, also shared in this gift.
I'm not aware of that, but it's possible. Nicholas was so heartbroken after his father passed, after his brother passed. I think perhaps it was a way for him to deal with that loss, to divest himself of most of the family holdings. He may have given more plots of land to other people. He was a very generous man. I mean, for someone who spoke of spirits who guarded his farm, he was even more Christian almost than his brother was in some ways.
These spirits that you speak of, can you tell us more of Mr. Rod's beliefs?
I never spoke with him much about it. Of course, I don't believe in such things, but I did hear him speak a few times. He would say that the spirits, he called them Tomte. He said that they'd been very good this year. They'd made sure the harvest had come in, had taken care of the chickens, and helped him fix the barn. I mean, he was a bit of a drinking man, but really not that much. His brother Anders was much more of a drinking man than he was. So I could not understand why he would think such things. I mean, a grown man like him who had been brought up in a house that obviously understood that the existence of the one true Lord, but I mean, out here these things grab people and won't let go easy.
Well, Mother Olsen, you and I and others in our presence have had an opportunity of learning and study and understanding of religious beliefs. There are others who have beliefs unto themselves that draw upon a much more elder knowledge, perhaps. The blending of these two, the interface, perhaps, of paradigms is of what interests me. I would be curious to see where these property boundaries lie.
Well, I mean, you could speak to the people from the timber company. Unfortunately, I would gather most of them have left by now, since it is Julsang, and they're usually gone for about a week at that time. I know the one that was ceded to us is the forested land just behind the church here. As far as the others, you would have to speak to perhaps Master Nielsen's assistant might be able to help you. I'm sure if you've gone to Master Nielsen's office, you've met young Mr. Gustafsson. He might be able to help you with some papers. You might be able to look at trying to talk to someone at City Hall, though they won't be open, I guess, until the day after tomorrow, after the feast day.
These lumbermen
say lumbermen.
Yes.
So are you deforesting these areas?
Well, no, but they are, yes, very much so. Some years ago, the land across the waterway was acquired by a timber company, and they came here and basically logged everything there was to log there. It's big business. Apparently, there's a lot of expansion going on in the cities, and a lot of wood is needed now. And of course, once they've deforested everything that was close enough to the river to make it easy to haul, they started eyeing the forested land that we had here. Most of it was owned by the Rod family over here. And so my understanding is that they've perhaps had difficulty in purchasing some of it, but I'm certainly not the best person to talk to about this. I don't really mix in those affairs, if you will.
Sure. Now, but you haven't begun taking the trees out of your property.
No, not at all. Well, as I said, we don't have the funds yet to build anything, so we're just sitting on it, letting it appreciate, as they say, and hopefully someday we'll have the funds, or maybe we'll be able to sell off parts of it to pay for at least some modifications. The children, of course, would need better lodgings, and expanding the cemetery would be good. And
Well, if there's any consolation, Mother Olson, the work you do here is good work, and I would be happy to put in a word with the Cardinal for you to see if additional funds could be brought to bear upon your mission.
you have the Cardinal's ear.
Well,
That is very impressive, sir.
I try not to dwell upon the prestige of the conversation and more upon the acts that can be accomplished for good.
Well, likewise, if I can be of any further assistance, please don't ask. And I'm certain I'm quite safe up here, but if you perhaps wouldn't mind coming in and checking in on us a little later tonight, perhaps that would be appreciated. And perhaps I could ask some of the lads down in the village to come up here and keep an eye out this evening, just to make sure the children are not hurt.
That would be prudent.
Thank you very much for the time and care you're taking in looking into this matter for us. The entire town is quite shocked by this.
Did Anders or Nicholas have any friends in town that they would speak to or spend time with?
Anders used to be friendly with a lot of the aldermen of the city as one of the people with money in the city. Of course, he was often part of decision making. Nicholas a bit less so. I mean, his pagan ways sort of were distasteful to some people, and he wasn't very sociable, not as much as his brother did. The lot of them, I don't mean to speak ill of the dead, but the lot of them were quite dedicated drinking buddies, along with Anders, back when Anders was still alive, and Nicholas never really mixed in with them so much. He simply went around doing good, helping people, giving money, giving food, giving toys, giving clothes, things of that nature, whenever people were in need. And unfortunately, the town has been suffering since his depression, since he lost his brother, because he's not been really, I guess, in the right spirit to help as he used to.
Do you know where could we find Nicholas? Where is his property located?
The family farm, you can't miss it, just down the hill and then continue straight away. They've built a bit of an iron fence around it, but it's the only farmable area that's left in the land. You can't help but see it as soon as you get down the hill.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. God be with you. If there's some devilry afoot, I hope you'll trust in Father Victor here to see you safe and sound.
Thank you, Mother Olson. And Victor will kind of reach out and take her hand and just kind of pat her hand. And then he'll kind of like, as people are starting to turn, he'll just say, do take care this evening to call upon some of the men from the village to watch upon the church and yourselves and the children.
I will seek some help right away.
Very well.
Thank you.
May Christ be with you.
And you. While you're in there, outside, Friedrich hanging out with the kids.
Yes. It's
Was there anything you would do?
It's mostly the children just paying a lot of attention to Tindra and her.
Oh yeah, once they see
dutifully
Tindra,
wagging
all
her
over her.
tail and licking faces and that sort of thing.
and you can really see that joy that comes, that you can see on the face of children who don't have anything when something like this happens. Like, this is like the greatest moment of the year for them. Like they were about to have like the worst Yule feast ever, but now like everything's okay, and they're playing with Tindra, and Tindra's playing around with them, and they're jumping and so on and so forth, and having a grand old time.
Yeah, and I think Friedrich would also like ask, Annie, because I'm sure he's talking with the children. He is at that very kind of grandfatherly figure, and would like be talking to the children and asking them, who in town makes the best candies or cakes and that sort of thing. And at some point or other, he will pull out a few coins to give to each of them so that they can get some fresh cakes on the morrow for themselves and the good mother inside and that sort of thing.
You're very kind, sir. Thank you so much. And they're quite happy.
Yeah. But other than that, like, his only motivation was to kind of separate the woman from the children so that everyone could have a earnest conversation. That, and he likes kids, so.
You do see, as you're sort of paying attention to kids and all that, you do see a couple of men come walking out of the forested area behind the church, and they sort of look like surveyors. They got like the high boots and the clipboards and the long measuring poles, and they're coming out from along the forest, and they have like jackets on that have some sort of crest on their thing. Do you intend to talk to them, or do you just let them go? It's up to you.
Can I get a sense of their demeanor? I have fairly good empathy and personal perceptive abilities, so.
Yeah, you get, they look like guys who just finished the last task of the day and now just want to get the hell home. Like, they're coming out of the woods and they're packing all their stuff and they're pointing towards where the last ferry is, and they kind of quicken their pace a little bit, and
okay.
They really look like they were just sort of, doing like some last minute check-in or something, and now just want to get the hell home.
Okay. Friedrich is not the type that would impose on people like that, so I don't think that he would interfere, although he would certainly try to position himself such, despite his old age, he does not have bad eyes, and he would try to get a good visual on the symbol, the crest. So
it's the same one. Yeah, it's the same one that you've seen the Sodra Timber Company. It's the same one that you've seen like on the other things. So your friends will come out of the church along with Mother Petra, who will see the kids playing with Tindra and all that, and go, "Oh, it's so good that you came, and the children absolutely love. Look at their faces. It's incredible. Thank you so much. You have perhaps come with dark tidings, but you've brought some joy into the children's lives, and I thank you for it."
I did not bring half so much as they brought to me.
Everyone loves Tindra.
Come on, children. Let's get inside now. It's been long enough. You must be cold. I'll put some soup on for you. Come on now. Say goodbye. Say goodbye. Very good. Thank the kind people. They're all like, thank you.
Yeah.
No, fine. Thank you very much. And she'll take them and guide them inside. And when they go in, the snowman's there, and slowly the head just rolls and flops and pops down on the ground.
So
we found some very interesting things.
Oh, good. I'm glad that my freezing of every bone in my body was worth something from that discussion, at least.
Did you find out anything? Any talkative tykes?
No, they just needed a good moment of levity, it seems. Well, I'm not going to press small children over such matters as all of this. It was merely doing my part to make sure that your conversation went uninterrupted. I would very much like it if we could find a place that I could get something warm to drink, though.
You look
Perhaps.
nearly frozen to the bone, Frederick.
You're not
He'll take his
off.
overcoat off. Victor takes his overcoat off and puts it over his old friend. Come now, and he'll give you an arm this time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
And as he's doing that, he pulls a little flask out of his pocket and kind of he knows you're not going to take it, or he thinks you're not going to, but he kind of like shakes it and looks, and then he puts it back in his lapel pocket.
I'm sure there is some measure, some psalm or hymn or proverb or something that would tell you not to entice the old with such wicked things.
It does warm the soul, I must say. Come
Yes, well, when I was in my younger years, I warmed my soul perhaps too much.
So where will you be heading then?
Yes, we do need to discuss our next steps here.
Well,
Well,
I
I-
very much would like some soup and beverage, perhaps. So, Dr. Marcus, if you could foresee such things in our future, I would be greatly appreciative. Of course, I will pay for it all if we are, able to find such things in this lovely, lovely village.
I could certainly eat.
If we
Food,
go to
drink.
an inn or such, perhaps we could hear some local gossip and maybe get some more information about this Mr. Rod and his brother and his unfortunate passing 7 years ago.
Oh, good. You
Very-
got some leads. That is lovely.
Indeed. I would very much also appreciate taking a look, perhaps, at some of these properties that have been, bequeathed to the deceased. I
Those-
do believe that there could be some information in the woods themselves.
Those men that came by, were they with the timber company?
Yes, they were surveyors, from what all appearances as I could see, and they were woefully behind in their duties, or at the very least, behind in today's matters, as they seem to be rushing off to catch the final ferry, much to, I'm sure, their wives' chagrins.
So it would seem the timber company is interested in the plot of land over here by the church.
Is that important?
Indeed, it is, my good friend, as
Somewhat
most of the plots of land that have been gifted to the deceased were, if I understand correctly, Gabriella, correct me if I'm wrong, but were in the process of being denuded of vegetation for monetary gain. The only one that has not yet been harvested is that of the church, leading possibly to the continued life in our good friend Mother Olsen.
Mm. So capitalism might very well play a measure in this endeavor as much as perhaps a demonic-headed fiend?
Well,
No,
I do suspect that something is not happy, or someone is not happy about these virgin forests being pilfered.
Hmm. Perhaps
We should
not.
consider all possibilities.
Perhaps we take a rest in the inn, gather our strength, gather some warmth to our souls, go over some of these details, and perhaps set out for a little bit of woodland wandering. There's nothing like a good saunter for the soul.
Indeed.
And on those words, as you head down into the village to try and find a place to warm your bones and get something hot in you, and you'll find a little coffee shop that will be open and will be able to serve you some hot food and some drinks. We will also take ourselves a little break. Do you want to do the second drawing before the break or after the break?
Let's do it when we get back. We'll do it first thing when we get
All
back.
right,
That'll give
sounds
people an
good.
opportunity to get in on the drawing. Again, ! drawing to enter to win. And thanks to Free League Publishing for donating a couple of digital copies for us to give away. So we're going to give one. Our second drawing will come at the end of the break, right before we get started. And then at the end of tonight, we're going to be giving away a hard copy and a digital copy to one lucky winner. So stick around and that might be you.
Awesome sauce. All right. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. We super appreciate you. We'll be back in a few minutes after we've warmed the cockles of our hearts, and we'll talk to you shortly. Cheers.
back to our special holiday edition Vaesen game where the Bleakseason is creeping us out with a murder mystery for the holidays. Isn't that fitting? It sure works for us. Thanks for being here, everybody. We are going to get back into the game, but first, as promised, we are going to give away a digital copy of the Vaesen core rulebook, donated so graciously and generously by Free League Publishing, the creators of this and many other fantastic game settings. Their rule system is wonderful, and we've really come to love it. So we think you will too. ! Drawing to get in on the action. You have about 5 seconds to get in on it, because in 5 seconds, a beautiful Canadian man is going to count down in French from 5 to 0, and then we're going to roll this thing to see who wins. So please, if you would, Christian, my Canadian
Please call in the beautiful
lumberjack
Canadian man.
wizard man. Do it in the lumberjack voice.
Thank God. Whoa. Thirsty.
Was that 0? And roll. Hey, Death OKGH, Brett, congratulations, buddy. You have won the Vaesen PDF. If you are in the chat, let us know. We want to make sure that people who are in the chat are the ones who are getting the loot. So yeah, are you there, sir?
That's okay.
You there?
That's okay. Well, actually, we can look, can't we?
Oh yeah, there he is.
Yeah,
Hey, all right. Hey, congratulations. I'll get with you after the show, and we'll get you the download information. Thanks for being here, everybody. And now back to you, Bleak.
Thank you very much. So our intrepid investigators had arrived in town only to find that the person they were coming here to see, the lawyer, Nielsen, had been killed apparently by some goat-headed creature who had headbutted him and cracked his skull open. And during their investigation, the characters realized that 2 other people, including the bailiff and a retired judge, had been killed in the same manner, rendering this tradition of the Yule clap, where people knock at the door and then leave a little straw goat as a joke, quite morbid indeed. And in investigating this matter, they've come to realize that there's some issue with deeds to various parts of land, which are now very valuable because there's a timber company that's looking to buy land up here so that they can harvest all that timber, and that all these deeds that have been given to these people who are the victims, including one who's still with us, Mother Petra at the church, by one Nicholas Rod, who 7 years ago, when his brother died of consumption, had decided to give away the family land to the alderman of the city. Perhaps in the hopes that the land would be maintained or be sold for the profit of the city. We don't know yet, but our friends have now gone to a little coffee shop, found some comfort, getting some hot coffee, some hot drinks, a little bit of food, and the coffee shop's closing early because, of course, it's Yule Feast. But they do serve you, take their time to get you some hot soup and some nice bread and freshly churned butter and some nice coffees and stuff, and they even give you a little bit of a coffee to go if you want it, and a little schnapps also if some of you are takers. A little schnapps. And after that, you needed that heat because you went traipsing around the wooded areas of the city, and what you realize is that there's sort of a big farming land in the middle of the city, and the city seems to have been built around that, and that you kind of figure is the Nicholas Rod, the Rod farm. Basically, you can see the farm sitting on it and the stables and whatnot. And then beyond the city, it's all forest. It's just primeval forest as far as the eye can see. And going through it, you've noticed where perhaps the surveyors that Friedrich had noticed earlier have gone around, and there's little flags and some trees that have been marked and stuff like that, and there's like areas that are delineated, and it certainly seems like the company feels like they're going to be able to make a move on this stuff. So it kind of tells you that maybe there's some movement there going on, that they're going around and taking measurements and figuring all that out. So as you get all that done and sort of head back, towards the center of town, towards the farmstead. What you freaking creep show, man? She just creeps no in the chat.
Some people
Yule
call it a
clap.
Yule clap, and some people call it a Yule
Get the
twerk.
a Yule twerk. All right, creep show, turning everything she touches to bad. Where was I? Yes. So you've gathered that information, gathered back around yourselves, and find yourselves now heading towards the farm. Mostly because as you came out of the woods, you noticed that there's a bit of a little crowd that has formed in front of the farm, and there appears to be maybe a dozen or a few more than that villagers that are just outside the gates of the farm, and appear to be yelling at the farmhouse. And as you approach, you can see on the front porch of the house, and the house is well maintained, very nicely sort of put together. The Lancet looks fine, and there's this large, heavy-set man with a big white beard, long white hair. He's got like pants on with a white shirt and suspenders, and he's got like this red jacket that's kind of half-assed thrown on, and he seems to be yelling back at the crowd. And as you approach, thank you, Creep, you're a good girl. As you approach the building itself, you can hear the villagers saying, "Come on, you have to help us. You have the money. We're starving. Our children are starving. We don't even have money for parents," so on and so forth. And he's like, "I've given everything I have. I have nothing left to give to any of you. If you don't get out of here, this is what you're going to get," he says as he brandishes his stick up in the air. "Get out of here, the lot of you. Always had your hand out asking for things, asking for it. Get out of here before I come down there and teach you what for." And with that, he turns around and slams the door behind him, and the people that have gathered around at the front are like kind of getting together and grumbling. And someone's like, "Oh, we should just go in there." And it's like, "Are you crazy? He's liable to beat your head in with his stick." And they're sort of miling about it, not too sure what to do. But you can kind of see as you approach that, they're fairly desperate. Like they all look fairly poor. They all got kind of like rundown clothing and stuff like that. They all look like, they're maybe not eating as much as they should, and so on and so forth. So they look a little bit run down and sort of down on their luck. So as you approach, you see still a group of them kind of gathered around the front of the house, talking in angry, muted tones.
What have we here?
Can I use my eagle eye to try to interpret a situation I am not involved in?
Yeah, sure. So you're basically, what your eagle eye tells you, I'm not even going to make you roll, is just that these people are kind of getting desperate. They're here. It's not like, you don't get the sense like, he was saying always with your hand out, so on and so forth. You don't get the sense that these are people who come here all the time asking for stuff. You kind of get the sense that they're very desperate and they're kind of putting their pride aside to do this, perhaps for their children or something. You can tell that, they're definitely sort of on hard times, and they were literally just asking for a little help from the rich man of the village, basically. And he, of course, very angrily sort of turned them away. But you don't get the sense that these are people who do this all the time, or that they're, like they're very desperate people. You get the sense that, they're stepping on their pride to come and do this. So you approach the crowd, or do you wait till it disperses before going in?
Father Nystrom would certainly start to mingle into the crowd a little bit to gather some additional information. My child, he kind of reaches out to one young woman, perhaps. Tell me, this gathering, what troubles you so? Is it something beyond the grace of God that could help you?
I'm sorry, Father. I don't know what can help us at this point.
Tell me, child, what troubles you so?
Times are hard, Father. It's getting more and more difficult to put food on the table and feed our children, and especially now at Yule Feast when almost no one has anything to celebrate with or for, and our children don't have presents, and it's been a few hard years, and there's no more farmable land. The logging companies buying up everything. It used to be that at least on Yule Feast, we could depend on old Nicholas there to come out and kind of help out those of us who are a bit more in need, but well, he's just not been the same, and he's not helping anymore, and we hate asking. We know he's done a lot for this town in his time. He's done a lot, but it's getting very difficult, Father, and well, I think most of us are thinking we're probably going to have to leave if things don't get better, move into a city, get some jobs, but we don't want to do that. This is where we grew up. This is where our children are. We want our children to grow up. It's just very difficult times, Father. You wouldn't happen to have anything you could spare, perhaps some food or something that we could share with our families?
Of course, I have faith, as I'm sure you do as well. And he kind of reaches into his pocket and he says, faith can get you only so far, my dear. And he has a couple of coins that he kind of grabs her hands and nonchalantly sort of places them in her hand. And he says, this speak not of it. These logging company, please. If you would relate to me, their business here is from out of town. They come here and
Yes.
remove the trees from the land, but do not in turn compensate the people.
No,
of the
all
village.
the money flows back to their company, which is in Uppsala and in Gothenburg and in Oslo and in those places, and there's
This
not much left for
Nicholas,
us.
Is he in business dealings, to your knowledge?
No,
Is
not
the-
at all. Nicholas is just an old farmer who did well. His family did well, and they used to take care of this village a lot. But no, times are hard everywhere, I guess.
Indeed, they are. Have faith. Have faith in the Lord.
We try, Father. We try, and some of them are like, "All right, well, let's get back to our families. We're not going to get anything here. Let's go back and see what we can do." And so a lot of them just kind of gather up and move on, leaving you 4 plus Tindra standing at the front gate.
As
Oh.
they are departing, Friedrich will loudly and perhaps over dramatically, in the sense that he's not a very good play actor, start saying, "Oh my, what have you found there, Tindra? That's something." And he just like reaches down to the ground and, with his other hand pulls out his wallet and says, "Oh, it appears that someone must have dropped their wallet," and produces a number of large bills from his purses and says, "Oh my, I do believe, Victor, that your faith might have produced something after all." And I'm assuming at this point he's gotten the attention of at least some of these individuals.
People are like gathering around. They're like, "Oh, did you lose this?" I know, I don't. I never, I don't have that kind of money. And they're kind of, you can tell they're not like going to rob you. Like they're really just kind of like,
Well, I can only surmise that whoever must have lost this does not need it. Perhaps else it would certainly have been something they kept close to them, and well, I can think of no better situation. And he just starts handing out as much money as he.
Oh,
pretty
bless
much
you,
has
bless
on
you.
him.
And they're all, they're all very respectful as they kind of wait their turn, and you distribute it, and you can see that you've given them a little bit of hope. They're like, "Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. This is wonderful.
I mean,
it's so generous, so
Tindra is
gracious."
the one that found it, and wasn't me after all.
They give her scritches.
Yeah.
Awesome. So they go off, and everyone's heading to the mercantile store before it closes to try and pick up some goods for us. And you did a good deed. They're very happy.
Frederick, you're such a softie.
Look, I'm of an age that, well, my family wealth is more for my family now than anything else. So the pittance that I get from whatever it is that my brother's business dealings provide, well, I'm happy to share it.
She'll just pat you on the shoulder.
Careful now.
Shall we see if Mr. Rod has any information for us?
Absolutely. Let's go.
As
Lead
you
on.
pass the gate and enter the area, I would ask everyone except for Gabriella for now to give me an observation check. So give me your investigation. So logic plus investigation. And while that's happening, in your case, Gabriella, the second you step onto the land of the farm, your little sixth sense starts to tingle, and you get the distinct impression, the same you've gotten several times before when you've entered a place or an area that was guarded or watched over or housed a Vaesen. You know for sure that there is some form of Vaesen activity on this farm.
Oh, don't look now, but we are not alone.
I did
the
get
rest,
one success.
anybody else?
Yeah, I did too. One success.
Everyone that got at least one success. Really weird, but you could have sworn that there was maybe a child with a red bonnet on, with like a red cap on, one of those conical caps, that was looking at you from inside the barn and pulled away as soon as you kind of noticed it. You saw it because there was that flash of red from the little hat that
Did you
pulled
see
away.
that?
Yes, the little one in the barn.
They
I saw
don't like it when you make it obvious that you've seen them.
What do you do?
Well, certainly if we have spotted them, they have very likely spotted us. And, well, since we are already here on other business, I would suggest that we perhaps try to go about our business and perhaps keep a better eye out.
Indeed. Let's speak with the owner of the property, as is the custom.
So you walk up to the front door. Big door. There's like, the woods of an elk or something, like kind of nailed to the top of it. And the building is very old, but looks fairly well maintained. Certainly someone takes care of this place. Do you knock? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
As soon as you knock here, away with you. I ain't no better than to answer the door these days. I'm warning you, I'm armed. Don't be coming around here clapping at my door expecting me to open it and get myself killed. That's exactly what someone that was coming here to kill me would say. Then you can see the curtain pull and you see like this really mad eye. Just sort of, well, I guess you don't much look like killers. Well,
I give my best winning, soft-hearted smile.
well, one of you looks like an undertaker, but the rest of you don't look so bad. Closes, and then you hear like, and the door opens. What do you want?
If you don't mind, a moment of respite and a moment of your time
Yeah.
to discuss.
Come on in. Don't stand there just darkening the doorway. It's cold as witch's brew outside.
Indeed.
Get your asses in here.
Thank you.
Very kind of you.
Come, Tindra.
Victor, if you would give me, please, as you walk in, a observation empathy roll.
All right. 1 success.
Okay. As you walk in and walk close to him and sort of see him, you detect signs that you know well. This man's an alcoholic. You can see the tremor in the hand, in the eyes, the skin, the nose with the capillaries, burst on the nose, and so on and so forth. Like, this man drinks.
Victor is immediately more interested in this house call than he was before.
All right, then, out with it. What do you want? He goes about, like, it looks like he was making tea or something and doesn't offer anyone anything. He just kind of starts pouring a mug. Come on, I don't have all day.
We just want a few moments of your time. We were invited here to try to figure out what is wrong with this town and what is going on with these unfortunate series of murders that have happened here.
Unfortunate, sure. Well, I don't know. Why do I look like I go around people's homes knocking on doors and killing them?
Oh, no. We just thought that you might have some information. Why did you say it was unfortunate? Do you think they deserved it?
Well, don't we all deserve it in the end, young lady? You look like a fairly classy young lady, perhaps from the city, something like that. You really tell me that you don't run daily across people who deserve it where you come from? World's full of people who deserve it, if you ask me. Like, he doesn't say bah humbug, but like looking for free handouts, looking for everything they can. No one wants to work anymore.
But, you yourself seem to have been very generous to the town and to the people. I've heard you made several gifts to different people in the town.
Yeah, I gave it all away. Oh, good it did me.
Why did you do that? Like, what made you want to give away such large parcels of land?
It's not like I was using it. It's not like I have the strength to go about logging or farming. And as he says that, you realize he's a big man, but he's kind of like a deflated big man, like, someone who used to be like really big and kind of strong, but really hasn't been working out or doing anything. So he still kind of looks big, but kind of deflated, as if he's empty, kind of thing. And he looks kind of, even now as you're talking to him, you're thinking, how does he maintain the farm? Like, the farm looks really kind of well, not spit and polish, but well maintained and kind of well cared for. And he honestly doesn't look like he could do it. Like, he looks kind of old and frail, not to the level of Friedrich, but certainly,
Are there any symbols of the faith, be it of the Christian variety, perhaps, or otherwise, perhaps pagan, perhaps something different than that, something more ancient?
Around the room, no, there's nothing. The kitchen is pretty bare. There's, in fact, you can clearly see that there were probably at some point like portraits or, different things hanging. Everything has been taken off. You can kind of see the outline of where things had been there sort of forever. And all these things have been sort of taken down. And the place is clean, but definitely like kind of stripped bare of any sort of personal mementos or anything like that.
If I may be so bold, Nicholas, to inquire, what do you think perhaps caused the unfortunate early retirement of the aldermen who were murdered in the past days?
Should I know?
Certainly you have some sort of theory, as do most of those in town. We seek your insights.
Who knows? Those kinds of people, they're always in, and you see that he's kind of like swaying a little bit, and he kind of braces himself on the corner of the.
Oh, that's okay there. Yep. Hold on. He'll reach out and kind of help steady him.
Who knows why people? I'm not feeling so good.
Are you
please
all right?
Sit, and he'll help lead him to a chair.
Like, when you go to bring him to a chair, like, he kind of goes limp, and like you almost drop him, and he falls in the chair.
Doctor, help me, doctor!
Oh, and I'll get him into a chair and start
Checking him out. All right, give me
examining the patient.
Give me a medical check. So give me your, I believe medical check is medicine and precision. You do have, I think, a bag or something, which gives you like a +2 bonus or something.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's 2 extra dice.
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
Christian, I
This
just
will
have a
take a
quick
minute.
question on this.
Go ahead.
As the man is collapsing and the investigation is taking place, is Tindra alerting at all? Or is she just generally uneased?
She was really at ease. She was like lying down next to you, next to the fireplace, her ears down, just watching him. And like when he started vacillating, getting up, like she got up and kind of, was kind of curious and sort of checked him out. But she felt very comfortable and very at ease up until that moment.
She's not alerting then of any immediate danger.
No.
Okay. That's all.
That was. Oh, sorry. You done?
Go ahead. Yeah, yep. I'll go.
2 successes on the medicine check.
All right. So you're checking him out, and all of a sudden you hear,
What was that? What did I hear? What did I hear?
you
didn't hear
diagnose
it
him with an acute case of sleeping. He has perhaps
Yeah, that didn't come through.
He has narcolepsy.
or something, but he is stone cold
Ah,
asleep. And as you check him out, you do see the same signs that Victor spotted earlier, and he kind of looks like he's someone who had been drinking kind of heavily and had finally kind of reached his limit. And like,
It would appear our friend is sleeping, perhaps involuntarily, but
Well,
he's
he
quite all
seems
right
to have
for now.
taken a bit of the spirit, if you will.
Also,
Victor's gonna
it
walk to the
tends
window.
happen to us as we get a little
Unfortunately.
older.
Well,
I'm gonna
it
walk
is
to
a
the window
holiday, I guess.
and look out at the barn just to kind of see if there's anything going on over there. A little lumberjack.
so you have the man fast asleep at the table, snoring loudly.
I'll be
Um,
snapping, trying to see if I can get him to wake up.
Yeah, I
So,
kind of feel like he probably needs to sleep some of it off a little bit.
I think we're a bit late in the day for this one.
So what do you want to do? You have now this entire area here for you to scope out.
Does
How about you
anything...
tell me where each of you goes and sort of what you look at? Yes, go ahead.
Sure. I'm gonna look for anything odd. Signs of... I mean, we know that there's some kind of Vaesen hanging out. I don't want to interact like necessarily with them directly.
But right now
like,
here in the kitchen, there's nothing. The kitchen is, aside from whatever dishes he'd been using, like his breakfast plate is still there and a couple of things, but the rest of the house, everything's kind of where it's supposed to be. There's no rotting fruit or vegetable anywhere. The dishes are done. Everything, there's like a black cat there that's just sort of, now kind of curled up at the feet of his master, and little fireplace running. It really just looks like a nice little cozy farmhouse kitchen right now. Right now, but after dark, it turns into this blood. No, okay, I'm kidding.
He did not care for the alderman. We know that much.
I'm curious of this barn. Would any of you
Keeps-
care to join me as I take a peek
Curious
at what
company.
might be within?
I'll
take a
come
look.
with.
I'll be more than happy to stay here with the sleeping old man, doing my very best to not fall asleep myself.
Stay here and do sleepy old man stuff.
Right. Exactly that. Sleepy
Are you
old
sure,
man
Frederick?
stuff.
Are you sure?
Would you like me to come along as he, clenches his cane ever so tighter?
Well-
No, old friend, why don't you just kick your feet up and let the dog sit next to the fireplace? We'll be back in a moment.
All right, so the three of you are heading out to the farm, the stable area, and Tindra and Friedrich are staying inside. Is that what I gather? Yes? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So as you head out, as I was saying, the farm looks fairly well maintained, and certainly better than an old man like Nicholas Rod could sort of take care of. As you walk out of the house, you see the sun is setting, and there's like maybe like just a half hour or so of daylight left as you're heading out. And here, the area where you are is kind of isolated from the rest of the village a little bit. There's that fence around it. There's a little bit of wooded area, and there's like under the farmland. So you feel kind of isolated a little bit. You just hear the wind that's kind of rustling through those trees everywhere. And as you approach the little pen around the stable, you can see that there are a number of animals. You can see a horse, a big, sort of draft horse in there. There are a few pigs. There are some sheep, some chickens. All of them look, healthy, sort of well fed when tended to. Their areas are clean. They all have food and water to sort of munch on. The doors to the stables are open. Inside, you can hear the bleating of goats.
Well, here we
Watch
are.
for dung. As Victor just stepped in a pile of something.
There's
Yes,
definitely
watch
some
yourself.
dung, yes.
Do we again see anything out of sorts? Anything odd about the any pagan symbols, any signs of things that are, I don't know, rotted or not
Nope.
well cared for, or
Everything looks very well cared for. There's no signs of any sort of either Christian or pagan symbols of any kind. As you approach the barn, you hear inside.
There's something inside the barn.
That was.
Christian, do we get the sense, or I guess does Victor get the sense that this is more than one old drunk
Absolutely.
man could take care of?
Absolutely.
He has help.
And your sixth sense, Gabriella, is like, spidey sense tingling. Like there's definitely something supernatural here.
There's nothing like being forthright. Hello? Is anyone here? We mean no harm in our intrusion. Hello?
As you call out, slowly from around one of the pillars in the middle of the place, you see a little head pop out. And this little head
Oh my.
is of this little creature that's maybe about this tall.
So cute.
It's got like a little toque on and a big white beard.
I want one.
And you can see behind it glowing eyes, as there are a couple more. So there's a few of them.
Oh, hello,
And
friends.
they're sort of, one of them's peering from around the thing. One of them's, you see like there's a bucket that's upside down and it kind of lifts up a little bit. And from under it, there's one that's sort of peeking out. And then from up in the rafters a little bit, you hear like someone sneeze, and you look up and there's
Oh, there's
that
this
little
other
other
one.
one that's kind of
Bless you.
hanging out there.
hello, good sirs. I don't suppose any of you could tell us what's going on around this town.
So as you see them, you see that they're like surprised to be addressed, and then they kind of look at each other and they talk, and they're like,
Oh yeah, because we can only see them.
yeah, because you can see them, right? It's like they're like very surprised by that.
I don't know if they can communicate with us directly. Gabrielle, have you ever encountered these before?
Not these ones. I mean, these seem a little less hostile than some of the ones I have come in contact
You-
with.
I've
You've-
not seen these before either.
Marcus, you feel something on your leg.
Huh?
he looked down, and there's one of them with a little rag shining your shoe.
Oh, I
Sees you.
assure you that's not necessary.
Backs away and runs off into the darkness.
Industrious little fellows.
Thank you.
It was very kind of you, sir.
I don't. Do you know what's happening around here? Yes or no?
And then they all kind of gather together.
Speak our language. I can't quite tell.
These guys are the best.
And then they kind of turn back, and then one of them sort of like they're all staring at you, and then they're all looking at one of them like, and then one of them pushes him, and he's like backs up again, and he's like, then one of them kind of steps forward and pulls up his pants, pulls down his toque, waddles over.
And Gabriella will actually get down on her knees so that she's shorter.
Oh, this smells good. Oh. And like he goes into this whole thing. Give me, if you will, give me an empathy and actually let's make it. No, let's do observation empathy, if you will.
Okay.
No. Give me, let's make it even better. Give me an inspiration empathy.
Okay.
You remember you have advantages if you want to use some of them, right? Like you have at least one advantage here each if you want that you can use.
All right, so that's 5 for me.
The rest of your friends will be helping you, so you can add a dice for each of them kicking around the area.
Okay. That is okay. I definitely got 1. I only got 1 6.
Okay, that's perfect. That's all you need.
All right.
So you have no clue what they're saying, but after a while, you kind of start getting the meaning. What they're saying, you're a detective, you're used to watching people and kind of reading body language and kind of understanding people's, using insight to understand people's intentions and whatnot. And you kind of get the feeling that he's saying, all right, look, you're kind of weird and scary, but we talked it out and we think we can probably trust you guys. There's some stuff that we'd like to show you if you kind of want to follow us. We'll show you some things, sort of thing.
They want us to follow them.
Very well, let's do so then. They seem friendly.
Just
do
be
seem
respectful.
Hello.
So there's 3 of them that come out, and each of them grabs someone by, the cuff of their pants.
Oh.
Victor, one of them will kind of take you out back here and shoot you. No, one of them will kind of guide you out back here.
I always knew it would end this way.
Being led out into the forest by a tiny
Put down
man.
by a gnome.
Onto the back 40 to be put down, yes.
And Marcus, another one, will drag you inside the little area here. As you're doing that, inside the house, Friedrich, you're sitting there with this man snoring quite loudly. Tindra seems to have made a new friend, as Tindra and the cat are now kind of curled up around each other and lying down by the fireplace and sort of soaking up that heat. What would you like to do?
Yeah, I think after a decent enough amount of time, a few minutes or so, I feel like Friedrich would, feel the itch to just wander around the room a little bit and start checking things out, trying to get a sense of understanding about this man and the place that he lives and whatnot, because at some point he's going to wake back up and Victor's going to have a conversation with him.
So as you you go around the kitchen, there's nothing, as I said earlier, that seems kind of out of place. It looks like one person lives here, just enough food and drink, for one person, everything kind of taken care of, the food fairly fresh and all that. This place looks like it was probably like very nice. People with money used to live here. It was well stocked, et cetera, et cetera. There's a nice stove and all those things, but there's nothing that really in this room that really catches your attention.
But there's obviously more to the house, yes.
Yeah, so there's a door behind there if you want to step through that.
I think he would investigate at least a little bit, yes.
You open the door, you find a den. A little den's got another fireplace there. It's got like a little bookshelf, that bear rug sort of on the floor. Again, it looks kind of stripped down, bare. There's just a one chair. Go ahead and do me an investigation roll, if you will. And
sure,
your investigation roll I won't make you do one every time you go in a room. So, like, if you want to make it count, and it's going to last throughout the house.
Okay. So that is one success.
Okay. So you walk into this room. The first thing you do notice is that there was definitely a second chair that used to be right next to the other one, like kind of side by side sort of thing, where two people used to sit, but then one's been taken away, but you can still see the indentation like on the floor or something like that. The other thing that you notice is there is a revolver on the table next to the chair. That's there. When you check it out, there's 3 bullets in it. Not that 3 bullets have been fired. There's just literally 3 bullets in it. And it's right there on the table next to the chair. And again, here, same as in the other room, there used to be things on the walls, but a lot of those things have been sort of removed in time. Place got a very sad feeling to it, like, someone living here, very lonely, just sort of kind of waiting for the end, maybe. You do notice also when you look out the window that there's like, some destroyed stuff on the side there, like an old sleigh that's been kind of broken apart and sort of just thrown down there on the ground, which is odd because everything else around the area looks kind of well maintained. And there are 3 doors that you can see. There's a door here, one here, and one here. Do you continue going through, or?
Not just yet. I think he would linger a bit, and if time continues on, then he might venture deeper in. But for now, no. I think he's a little concerned about seeing the revolver and
do you leave it there, or?
Oh yeah, I know he doesn't touch it.
Okay. Meanwhile, back on the farm, inside the barn, Marcus here being dragged by one of the tomte, sorry. And the tomte sort of pulls you into this corner here. And when you approach that corner, if you want to, you don't need to do an investigation because it's pretty sort of obvious, but you see a couple of barrels. One of the barrels has a cushion on it, and there's like a little heater next to it that's off right now. But as the little tomte sort of goes in there, he tries to push one of the barrels and he can't. But you can see on the ground there's like a trap door that's built into the floor there.
And it's currently covered up.
Yeah. Like there's a couple of barrels that have been moved sort of over it hastily.
And I'm gonna point to it and I'll be like, what is inside? The old man. He drinks. Okay. I don't know what that means.
He points at
Very
the trap.
interesting. Strong. One of you, strong. One of me. You're saying there's a person in there. You want me to take him out?
He calls the other Tomte over, and they like
All
get
right.
together. And he's like, "It's not the brightest."
I'll take a look. I'll take a look, and I'll go over there and start
All
kind
right,
of
so
looking around the doorway, seeing. I'd like to kind of try to get an idea of who or what might be inside there before I.
so
open it.
it looks like it's fairly small. Like you're actually kind of dubious that someone could put a body in there unless they'd like cut it up first, which is always possible. You know, you're sort of standing over a hole in the ground with possibly a body inside, and it's bringing back all sorts of memories from your past that you try to push away. But you do see there are candles like on one of the barrels, and then there's like a little sort of wood stove
Does
down
it look
there.
like it hasn't been disturbed in a long time?
No, in fact, it looks like it sees regular use.
Okay, I'd like to go up to the. Is it this trap door? Is it like a
Yeah.
door? Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to go up on it and like knock loudly on it. Hello. Is there anyone inside? Can you hear me?
You hear nothing, but when you look back, the two Tomties are looking at you like.
All right.
Yeah, so we got the weird one. Yeah,
I'll feel their mocking me, and I'll start moving the barrels.
Okay, no problem. When you do, you realize that the barrels get moved off, and like there's scratch marks on the door of the trap door, and there's like kind of a groove where the barrel goes, and it's kind of like just twisted aside and it moves off, and it certainly looks like this is a regular sort of occurrence.
Okay, and then I'll just sort of. Is it locked? Is it something?
No, there's just like
open?
a metal ring, like a rusted metal ring that you could just pull up.
So I'll kind of slowly start lifting it up, and then just throw it open and back up a few feet.
No, I'm kidding. Nothing happens. When you open it up, you look inside and you can see like some distilling equipment, and then a bunch of earthenware jars of booze, and the smell of the alcohol just wafts up, and you're like, if only the priest was here. But yeah, so there's like some distilling equipment, some jars of a couple of empty ones, but a lot of full ones, like earthenware jugs with like.
I mean, does
wax
he
on
keep it
top.
out here for a reason? Is it like illegal to?
No, it's not illegal.
Okay.
It seems like he likes to do his drinking in here rather than inside the house, you would think.
With his drinking buddies.
Yeah.
With his drinking buddies. I'll like motion to them to like. Do you want some? No. Okay.
They pull on their beard. If that man is found if it falls off bad.
All right. Not your thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Meanwhile, while he's wrestling with what to do here outside, you're being led by your little friend, and he takes you to this little copse of trees that's in the back here, and it's kind of overgrown. But when you get there, you realize there's this massive, giant, twisted tree that's like kind of behind a bunch of freshly, smaller pines that have grown around it, and just weeds and flowers and stuff that have kind of grown. Like this place hasn't been kept up, but this tree is something. And Ashley, Gabriella, when you approach it, you with your sixth sense again, you get the feeling that there's a power in this place, like in this tree. Like there's definitely something here. that's old and primeval and just sort of lingering. And as you approach, you notice that under a lot of the stuff that's kind of overgrown, there appears to be what looks like an old altar that's kind of really weather damaged now, broken up. There's like a ram's skull on top of it. There's like another skull with a candle. There are like various offerings and things of that nature. And next to it, there is what looks like a tombstone, maybe, like just this sort of weird round stone that's planted in the ground, sort of next to it. And the Tomte is just like,
Chris, given what we know of Vaesen, we're an investigative team here.
yeah.
Does this display of folklore, whatever you might call it, does it give us pause? Does it seem dark, or does it seem?
No, it doesn't seem dark. It seems very sort of, people still practice some of the old religions, praying to Odin, praying to Thor, praying to Freya, things of that nature. And this is what it looks like. You recognize a lot of the symbols around the area as being sort of Esetru related, like all those sort of ancient Scandinavian gods. You don't get a feeling of, devil worship or anything like that.
Gabriella, do you get a sense here that our friend Nicholas is, utilizing some of the ancient beliefs to help him maintain his land?
I don't think that's what is going on here. I think that these are seemingly good helpers of the farm, but perhaps Nicholas has been dabbling in some other things. And she'll point to the altar.
Yes, does anything seem out of place? And he's going to kind of look around.
Ram's head?
Well, but we would know these to be something of the old faith, really, right?
Yeah.
Chris, isn't that what you just told us?
But that ram's head doesn't look super old. And it looks like it looks a little bit not of one with the rest of this stuff. Like it
that's
looks
kind
like
of what I was
it's a
little
little different.
So
So it doesn't look.
here?
No, it does not look
desecrated?
at all. Look like a desecration.
Okay,
Not at all.
Okay.
It just looks like maybe this was added later or something like that. You do remember that Mother Olsen, Petra Olsen, told you that Nicholas was a pagan. His brother was Christian, right? And so this looks like it would have been probably the place where he came to pray. And there's nothing in it that sets you, makes you uneasy. Aside from the fact that while the rest of the farm is still super well maintained, this place is obviously not been maintained at all. It's been overgrown and kind of forgotten, almost hidden away in some ways.
Oh, so you're saying that like the altar is like disused now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's been forgotten and neglected.
Oh.
Can we tell if there's anything from our knowledge of these old faith sort of shrines? Is there anything that seems, we see that the stag head or the goat head is relatively new, but is there anything that's particularly damaged, or
no, there wasn't.
Just overgrown with vegetation?
It's just abandoned, basically. Yeah, totally. And like I said, like it looks like maybe there was a little bit of that before the ram's head was placed, and then it was just allowed to continue.
Do you think the ram's head belongs in this place of offering? It does seem a bit slightly out of place, but I do not have the knowledge to determine.
Well, someone or something put it here. It didn't just die on the altar. There's not the rest of its body.
I'm gonna look at the Tomta. he's just pointing at the thing, just like.
But
at the
actually, right now when you turn around, he's got his finger all the way up his nose, and he's like,
Oh no, no problem.
Do you want us to remove the head? No.
he comes over and he climbs up on, with some effort, on the altar, and then goes over and he taps the ram's head, and then he walks over and he hops and lands on the tombstone.
Is there writing on the tombstone?
Nope.
Is that Anders? I heard he died. You don't know whose tombstone this is. All right. What do you think we should do?
He sits down. And he points at the house.
Oh, all right. We'll have a talk with Nicholas.
And he jumps back on the altar and he points at the ram's head.
Oh, let me help you with that. And Victor will go over and help him with the head.
You pick it up. He kind of follows along.
Oh God! Is there carnage associated with this head? No, okay.
Not at all. You just
Probably
kind of pull it
frozen
out
a
of the
little bit,
branches, a little bit, and pull it out of some branches and brambles and stuff. But it pulls out fairly easily, and the Thompson kind of goes and sits on your shoulder and starts pulling at your collar.
Yes, very good. Hello, friend.
So we should take the head to Nicholas, the big man in the house.
Yeah, with the staff. Yes, the shepherd's crook. Yes.
Yeah,
the
that
drunk.
one. That one.
Let's not be too judgy, Tomton. That's fine. It's fine.
So I'm just over there. So
Well,
like he's pointing out as you're walking, he's pointing out like the different things of the farm, and he seems to be pretty proud. Like, over there's this,
Yes. Where's Marcus? Doctor.
Marcus comes out of the stable, and as he does, you get this waft, Victor, of sweet, sweet alcohol that just washes over you.
Yes, they showed
God, keep me strong, Lord.
They showed me Nicholas's still. He's got a little stash back there. I'm not sure what they want, why they wanted to show me that.
Well, we have this. Hold up the goat head.
Yes, it seems that some things may have been neglected here around the farm, and some things perhaps have been getting done by these fine young gentlemen here. And we'll motion to the little people.
I'm gonna point to the alcohol in the little stash spot, and I'll be like, "Do you want us to take it with us, or should we leave it?"
Well, we could certainly take a sample of it, if nothing else.
They got the one that's on your collar, like pulls at your ear, like.
Yeah. Yes.
They would like us to have a conversation with the man inside.
Okay. All right.
So as you head back inside, you walk into the kitchen and you find Friedrich there, just having made some fresh coffee, is giving Nicholas a cup of it. Nicholas, who seems to sort of groggily be kind of, coming back from his little stupid sleep, and he takes the coffee and, he sips it, and he looks kind of still a little weak and frail, and,
As you guys come into the room, Friedrich has a very good sense of reading people and whatnot, and kind of intuits that you guys have found something, and he approaches you and in a hushed voice he says, "Do be careful with speaking to him currently. I have gotten the sense that he is a man reaching some of the end of his wits."
Oh, goodness. Well, maybe this will be easier to take. Put that head over on the table, would you?
Oh my.
Very well.
When you do that, Nicholas like,
Good morning, sir.
Hello. Let's try this one more time. Sir, we've been speaking with some of your tenants. And they would like us
away.
to have a word
Take it
with
away.
you.
please, do an old man a favor and take it away.
What, this old thing? I'll find like a cloth or like maybe a tablecloth or something. I'll just kind of like put it over the top of it.
He downs his coffee and then
Nicholas.
yes.
Nicholas. Hey, Nicholas. Please, it would be much simpler if you would tell us about the place of worship behind the farmhouse and, well, the presence of this goat head. Fill us in on what's going on around here. It would be much simpler. Maybe a weight off your chest, sir. You do carry a heavy burden. And
I do, sir. I do.
And your little friends are very worried about you.
Indeed.
You can see them.
Yes, you've got quite a colony.
I always knew they were around, or my brother at least always told me they were around, but I could never.
Oh, you can't see them.
No.
So who do you think is doing all the cleaning?
Well, I assumed the little spirits were, but I've never seen them. Give me a moment, and he gets up slowly, and he goes back into the other room, and then you hear him kind of rummaging around, and he comes back after a while, and he sits down, and he's carrying like a framed picture or something, and he puts it down on the table, and you see a picture of him with this beautiful black goat, and the goat's kind of like got his head on him, and he's like giving it scritches under the chin, and
so the head is of your beloved goat?
it is Johann. Yes.
Johann? And why was Johann on an altar in the back of the farm?
Because I killed him. I killed him. I didn't mean to. It was an accident.
Good God, man, pull it together.
Tell us more about this goat.
It would go so much better if I had a little something to fortify myself.
Of course. And
Oh,
Victor will pull his flask and unscrew it and take a sip and then hand it to Nicholas.
thanks.
Now, tell it
Peppermint schnapps.
Akavit. But nevertheless, tell it to us straight, Nicholas. Now, no fussing about.
I'll reach over and go, oh, I think that's enough. I'll hand it back to the priest.
While this conversation is going on, by the way, I'm also I've got my book open and I am dutifully looking through it and trying to piece together all of these fragments that we've accumulated so far.
So he says, my brother loved Johann. Sometimes I thought maybe he loved Johann even more than me, but well, my brother was always good to me too, so but that goat just hated me. It just hated me all the time. It was just always looking at me like judging me. I couldn't take it after a while, and one night I came home drunk, and well, there was Johan standing in the barn door just looking at me with that accusing glance, that judging glance, and well, I couldn't take it anymore, so I went up to him and I started beating him with my stick. Of course, he was bleeding to all hell and back and making such a fuss and noise that my brother came out, saw what I was doing. He came running out. "What are you doing? Stop, stop. What are you doing?" And he came and he grabbed me, and as he grabbed me, Johan hit me from one side, and I swung and I tried to hit Johan, but it hit his horn and it bounced off and it hit my brother right in the face, and all I heard was this sharp crack. And all of a sudden there's all this blood running down his face, and he dropped. And I just knew he was dead the second he hit the ground. And then it was like Johan was possessed, like the spirit of my brother was in Johan, and he just kept attacking me and charging me, and I tried to get away from him, but I couldn't. So I hit him in the head a few times, and he went down also, and then it was just me sitting there with the body of my dead brother and Johan. What have I done? So I buried them both out back. That altar where my brother was always praying with his pagan ways. Never did cotton up to that, but it was harmless enough, I thought. Thought maybe that's the place he needed to go, so I interred him there, and I interred Johan there, but a little while later I thought perhaps I should make some sort of offering. I felt like someone was watching me, someone was always around, and I started kind of feeling afraid that maybe my brother or Johan would strike back from the grave and try to kill me, and so I went and I dug up Johan and I took his skull and I put it on the altar as a gift to whatever ancient gods lived in that tree that my brother believed in, and I hoped that would appease them. I guess it didn't, because people are dying still. My brother Nicholas, he was good. He was a good man. Should have been me.
Perhaps it is time we reunited that skull with the rest of your brother and laid him to rest properly.
I don't know. Do you think that would do anything? I don't know any of these things.
Well, it is possible that there is a disturbance in the balance of things, the balance of life and death, of responsibility. It couldn't hurt, but I don't know.
Well, you know these things. I don't. I'm just a drunk old man who murdered
Don't
his
debase
brother.
yourself, Nicholas. Hey, Nicholas. Don't debase yourself over these things.
I'm not Nicholas. I'm Anders.
That is just what I was thinking.
Well, shit.
Hello, Anders.
This village hated me. No, Nicholas was a little bit older. My hair is still dark. I have bleach in the water room there that I used to take the black out of my beard and hair. It's probably closer to white now, but this village always hated me. My brother Nicholas was generous. He gave to everyone all the time, and I thought if they find out that I killed him, they're gonna turn on me, so...
Well, you must turn yourself in, Anders. This is no way to live. Living with the guilt will only tear you apart further.
It's been difficult.
We would be happy to bring you in to face justice for what you've done.
But what about these people that have been dying? Is it my brother that's been doing this from the grave, or Johan, or...
What can you tell us about this goat creature?
I know
might be
nothing.
able to shed some light on that particular subject, as Friedrich has been looking through the book and examining all of the clues and such. Very likely what we are dealing with here is a Skugga? Skugga. A rather angry spirit, as it were, that in dealing with some of the wrongs of them are committing wrongs of their own. Very likely, I think that we're going to have to attempt to banish it, and in this particular instance, we're going to need a few things, not the least of which is something rather unsavory, and, well, frankly, that would be the bones of the victim.
Well, at least we know where they are.
Do we?
Well, there's a tombstone out back.
Oh,
My
that's true.
brother is buried out back, yes.
But
we
was
know
he
where
a
the
victim?
grave site is, then.
It's near the altar.
Do we need that victim, or do we need the victim, a recent victim?
Yeah, the brother wasn't a victim of the creature.
Christian, if I'm reading this right, we need the victim of the original act, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Oh.
the Skugga basically would be a shadow of
Right.
the murdered brother who has come back to seek vengeance. Now, why he's killing the other people, we don't know yet, but...
But we have the skull. We have the grave site. Right?
So we need to dig.
Yes, we'll need some measure of the bones, as it were, along with a few things that, Victor, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Some frankincense and myrrh, something that the church should have on stock, yes?
Of course. Yes, that is true.
And very likely they would have the a copper bell.
I have one of those in the barn.
All we would need then would be a single gold coin to finish the ritual, if I do recall correctly.
Yes. I've got that covered.
And a blessed grave.
Which,
So-
Well, if you have a priest.
We do have a priest.
So basically what you understand out of this is you have to disinter the bones from out back. You have to wash them in the frankincense and myrrh. You have to carry them to the cemetery and give them a proper burial there, and bury them with a single gold coin, and repeat the name of the victim 3 times, and then ring the copper bell after each utterance, at which point, theoretically, the Skugga would be banished.
We have a long night ahead of us, but luckily there's moonshine aplenty.
try
There's the spirit.
not to use too much of that for your blessing.
You will gather all the needed essentials. You will manage to go out back, find some shovels in the barn, disinter the body. There's an old wagon there, and you can attach it to the horse, and put the bones in there in a tarp. Get the frankincense myrrh from the church, and get the copper bell, everything that you need. You will then transport yourself back to the church, just sort of moving this along here as we're getting into our time. Find yourselves back at the church, and when you arrive there, you will find Petra is there, Do you bring Nicholas with you? We'll see you bring Nicholas with you. You have Nicholas. You're there. When you get there, he takes you to a plot, basically where it's his tomb to Anders that you see in the cemetery, and he'll tell you that there's nobody buried there. That it was all just for show, and then you'll be able to dig through into the ground, even though it's kind of difficult and hard work. It'll take you a little bit of time. You'll find that Tomte will have come along and will help you along digging into this. And then around close to midnight, as these things tend to happen, you will be ready to perform the ritual. You will have the bones laid out, having been washed. You will have the bell. You will have the wash them in the frankincense and myrrh. You have the gold coin and everything else. And you will be able to begin the ritual. Now, this is how this works, all right? So in order to do the ritual is going to take 3 rounds to do, okay? At every round, one of you has to be doing the ritual. It doesn't matter who, and you can hand it off, and you don't have to say specifically which part of the ritual. It's just you have to take a slow action that you declare is to do the ritual. So the first one will probably be to put the bones in there. The second one will be to recite the name and throw the coin in. And then the third one will be to recite the name 3 times and bang the bell. All right. So whichever one of you does that is fine, as long as someone declares every turn that you're doing it. And so as you're gathered around that tomb and have dug it out and they're sort of getting ready, the moon sort of peeks out just a little bit through the clouds, shining down on this cemetery where you are. I'm sorry, I'm about to cough. I'm just going to mute myself. And as you are preparing yourselves, one of you, perhaps even Nicholas, actually at first will be like, there, he comes for me. He's coming for me. He's coming for me. And he'll start kind of backpedaling. And as you look up, you will see a figure emerging from the darkness nearby. And this figure is this tall, slender figure with this long red robe and these horns and this goat face and this long black beard that's just dripping down. And as you're getting ready to do the ritual, this thing is just approaching, and then as it sees Nicholas and it sees Petra, it starts to scream, and it starts running forward.
Start the ritual.
Heading towards you. So, peoples, I will draw the cards, the initiative cards here, which we do initiative with the cards. I will draw in order that I see you on the screen, and then figure out who's going to be doing the actual ritual every turn. The other ones, well, try to survive and try to keep the devil block sort of occupied. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you're going to approach it while I draw the cards for the...
Victor can start out with the ritual piece. I have no problem with that. I think that makes sense.
What do we know about confronting aggressive Vaesen? Like,
well, so you know that it is sometimes possible to fight them to a certain degree, but they're usually impervious to normal weapons.
Okay.
And so drawing its attention and kind of, running away, basically you want to protect the person doing the ritual is basically what you want to do. Okay. There is
actually, a quick environment question. This gate to the cemetery, is this a high gate or is it a low gate? Is it
so the sides are like about mid height, and the gate itself is pretty tall, but the sides are like about half a man, like maybe like
chest,
3 feet high or something.
This thing could just step right over it.
It could
vault over it, but it would be an action to do that, so it would slow it down somewhat. Another thing that's important to know is that you can trade initiatives with somebody else on your team. So if you want someone to go first or go earlier, you can do that amongst yourselves. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I drew the initiative cards. And I got a 10 for Friedrich. And I'll draw one for your dog, actually. So Friedrich will go at 10. Your dog will go at 5 if you want the dog to do something.
The dog really only adds to my ability, so
Okay.
I don't think he actually gets his own turn.
Okay.
Her own turn, sorry.
So Marcus, you got an 8. Victor got a 4. The Skuga, the Devil Bach, got a 3, and Gabriella got a 1. So both the mother and Nicholas are going to be fairly useless in the fight in this moment. So it's sort of up to you. And so you would go first, Gabriella. Do you want to? Yeah. So
Yeah.
Lower the better.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was bad. All right.
Oh no. It's better.
Since I'm going last, Dave, you might want to let Friedrich take care of the ritual too, because you actually might be able to do like prayer and stuff to disrupt this guy, whereas Friedrich is an old man who's mostly useless in combat.
Okay, just so you know, like there needs to be a blessing, obviously. So
I think that's in the last phase, though, right?
No, you don't need to do. There's no blessing that need to be done. You need to. And it has to be in a blessed grave. So because it's in the
got it.
cemetery
Okay.
on the church ground, it's already considered blessed.
Sure.
So it's just about doing the mechanical. Anyone can do any of the parts of the ritual.
What was your Miko? What was Frederick's initiative?
10.
10. Okay. Yep. So I go before him. Yeah, that sounds great. If you take care of that, that
No
sounds
problem.
awesome.
No
Yep.
problem.
Okay. So every turn you get to do one fast and one slow action, or you can do 2 fast actions. If you look at the cheat sheet, you'll see all that. You can either do 1 slow, 1 fast, or 2 fast actions. You keeping your fast action if you think you're going to be attacked is good, because if you still have your fast action, even if it's before your turn, you can use it to dodge or parry. Otherwise, you're just taking the hit. Okay?
Oh.
You can move wherever you want. There's no movement. Like moving into the cemetery gates or outside of it would be a fast action movement. But within the cemetery itself, you can go wherever you want.
Okay. Well, what I want to do is I want to fire my pistol into the air
Mm-hmm.
and shout at the goat. Why don't you come after me, you big goat? and then I will, like, you know, kind of motion for, like, you know, people to, like, get out of the way, like, to run. And I'm going to like, what do I have left? What can I do on a
Well, so you can, one of the actions you can actually take is lure an enemy to a certain place, and that's an agility roll. So if you want to do that, you could do that with your gun. So I would say roll your agility and your ranged combat. Yeah, so it would be your agility. It would be a straight agility roll, and then you would be able to, if you're successful, you would draw its attention and whatnot. And since you're using your gun and kind of firing at it, I would say that you can add, even though it's not normal to add your agility to your ranged combat, you're not trying to hit him. So I would say use your agility and your and add up your ranged combat with it. Roll those dice. If you get a 6, it'll at least sort of start going in your direction, kind of thing.
Okay. Come on.
6s, and you still have an advantage, I do believe.
Oh gosh. Oh man, I only got a 5, so I'll use my advantage. Does that mean one more or no?
2 more dice for advantage, yeah.
Come on, 6. Yeah, 1 6.
All right. So move your character to where you want to draw his attention to. You can go anywhere inside the cemetery area if you want, or you can spend your fast action and go outside of it if you want. But then you won't have a dodge or a parry.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna, since it can just get over the side, I'll actually move like closer, but like to the side. So hopefully it'll go for me.
Gotcha. It goes at 3, and since you did get a success, it will in fact go for you. So it will start running this way, and it will come, and it will pole vault over. Well, not pole vault, but it'll try to vault over that and get a 6, so it's good. So it kind of jumps over that, it goes and it lands in front of you, kind of like crouching, and then it stands up and it's like just a little bit taller than you, and it's kind of crooked a little bit and kind of hunched, and it just screams this sort of weird, it's not a bleeding sound, it's just this weird kind of infernal noise in front of you, and it raises its hand, and it's going to very likely hit you, but it took his action to vault over, so it can't hit you this turn. At 4 then it would be Victor.
Seeing this happen, Victor races forward and kind of like gets in front of Lady Gabriella, and he raises his crucifix and he holds his Bible in his hand, and he starts chanting in Latin, "In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti, Amen." And he goes into like this this sort of diatribe of calling upon the power of God to protect them. He's got this blessed crucifix, which is his holy symbol, and he is going to use it to attack the Vaesen with it. So it says that I have this religious item, which is the crucifix, which allows me to use inspiration to attack the Vaesen in close combat, and it's blessed. So I get a +2 to the roll.
Go for it.
So how does that work? Tell me what inspiration is, and what dice should I roll for this, Christian?
So
I'm not 100% sure.
normally if you're using your inspiration, so that's your empathy. So you would use your inspiration plus your empathy.
Okay.
And then whatever bonus dice the thing is giving you.
So inspiration, is that 1 die, extra die?
No, you have an inspiration skill.
Oh, I do.
Well, I don't know if you have it.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
so you use that plus your empathy.
Yep.
And then whatever bonus.
My advantage plus my okay.
And then you roll that, and you look for 6.
And then I got 1 6.
All right, so that's good. Now, I will also say that something I forgot to do right away at the beginning is that whenever you see a Vaesen, you also have to do a fear roll. So your roll will count regardless of whether or not you end up being feared. Your roll will count, like you've succeeded against him. But first and foremost, I would like everyone to make a fear resistance check, which is you roll your logic or your empathy, whichever one you prefer. And that's just your attribute, no skill. For each friendly person around you, you get to add a dice, maximum 3. So everyone around you is friendly, so you will all get to add 3 dice to your logic or empathy. And basically, as the Vaesen rears up in front of you, it's to see if you can steal your mind and not be overcome in terror from it. And I will say that this thing is fairly scary, so I'll say you require 2 successes in order to not be feared.
Oh.
So it's a good place to use your inspirations also if you got them.
So I got a 6 on my fear check. And then I had a 6 on my attack on the Vaesen.
Okay.
You said we need 2 successes, right?
Yeah, to not be feared.
Okay.
Oh.
So 5.
I only have 1.
And my talent applies to this, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to push.
You can push your roll,
I
right?
forgot about
Remember,
pushing.
right?
I'm definitely pushing.
You
How
can
do you
reroll
push?
you reroll all your failures, and you take a mental condition, but that's better than being feared.
Okay. Yep.
Man, I rolled shit.
Oh, there we go.
If you
didn't get any
spent
more
your
sixes.
inspiration, you can re-roll those dice also. Like all the dice that you rolled that were not successes, you can re-roll them.
Mm.
And then except for
on
this,
my attack.
yeah, and then you can add. So if you had 1 success in the first shot and you re-rolled, not on your attack, on your fear roll. If you had 1
okay.
success on the first roll and then you have another one, that's your 2 successes.
Okay,
just
so I got
FYI.
I got 2.
Just FYI, Christian,
Oh my God.
I rolled my dice and I had an advantage from Insomnia Night RPG. Thank you in the chat.
Cool, awesome.
Hey.
That I used. I also had to push, so I am taking the angry condition.
Okay.
But I did get 2 successes.
All right, so you're pissed off at it, so you're not going to be afraid of it. That's good. Andy,
Okay, I rolled 8 dice because I have a +1 because of my brave talent, and didn't get a single 6.
Oh.
Oh.
I'm going to use my
Doctor.
my inspiration, that means I get to re-roll, right? Completely.
No, to reroll
Two.
if you use your inspiration, you get to add 2 dice. If you want to reroll, you have to push your roll. But I would say use your
Use the inspiration
inspiration.
first.
I'll use my inspiration.
So roll 2 more dice.
Because I rolled like 24s. Thanks, Owlbear.
Just roll with your own dice, man.
This is getting bad.
VTT never likes you, Andy.
Yeah.
Well,
You should
neither
know
does
better
my
by now.
physical dice. 'Cause I
No
rolled a number
successes?
4. No successes.
All right, now you can push the roll, which will give you a mental condition, but allows you to re-roll all those dice,
Including the
them.
+1 that
All
I
of
get
them.
with my talent.
including
Okay.
And
all right.
and the bonus that you just the 2 dice as
Yeah.
well.
And the oh wow.
Yeah.
So okay.
Roll, baby.
the whole
worth the
kit and
push, man.
caboodle.
That's
Yeah.
10. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be with you in 1 moment.
Hey, thanks, Wandering. Appreciate that advantage. Thank you very much.
Oh, really?
Hey, thanks, Lee.
Come on.
No, Andy.
Talk to me, Andy.
Did you get 2
1 success
successes?
so far. Okay, I got 4 more. Come on, baby.
Come on, man.
Yes.
And did you
got
see?
your 2?
Okay, I got my 2. I got my
All right.
2 out of
All right.
20
That's
dice
a lot
rolls.
of dice.
You also
20
got some.
dice.
You also got
I
some
threw down
bits from
20
chat.
dice.
Yeah,
So
you,
you
got
got an
bits from chat,
advantage.
so you have another inspiration to put in
Okay.
your.
Yeah,
your
next
thing.
next
I'm
die
gonna
roll.
save that one for
roll
later.
2 extra
Appreciate
dice.
that.
What
All right.
what mental condition are you taking?
I
I
have
would
to
not
take a
recommend
condition?
frightened.
Yeah, you have to take angry, frightened, or hopeless. Probably.
I'll take angry.
All right.
Angry.
So you're angry. So this means that from now on, you roll 1 less dice, regardless of what test you make.
All right.
Gabriella, what did you get?
I had to push it, and then I got 3 successes.
All right, awesome. But you push, so you also have to take a mental condition.
I'll be angry.
I'll be angry. A bunch of angry people here. And finally, Victor.
Arr.
I got 2.
All
I
right.
use my inspiration. Yep.
Did you push?
I didn't.
Okay. So the other 3 of you had to push. So you have the angry condition, which you get a -1 dice to any roll that you make from now on. There are certain things that can cure that. Some of you have special powers or certain things you can do. But that's sort of where you're at. So no one is afraid, which is good. You all kind of see this creature coming at you, and you all kind of steel yourselves and confront it. And it, in turn, as the priest sort of stood in front of it and raised his crucifix, it does sort of like rear back and start pedaling back. And as it does so,
I was gonna say, who moved me? Don't
Yeah.
move the old man.
oh, sorry, yeah.
Who's doing the ritual right now?
Yeah, so the old man is so you notice something weird, Gabriella and Victor, as this thing kind of screams and kind of tries to backpedal away from Victor in fear. It's holding a hammer.
Oh.
Stop.
Yeah, but I'm
Hammer
holding
time.
a crucifix.
Okay.
Does he get
You
it?
got
with
some nails for it?
All right. So after that, it'll be at 8. It'll be Marcus at 8. What would you like to do?
Come on, Doc.
Doctor.
Oh wait. Oh can I just recall something real quick?
Yep.
How did Anders kill the goat?
With a stick.
With a stick?
Yeah.
Okay. God, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Somebody's doing the ritual, not right now, right?
Yep.
I
Yeah,
started
Frederick.
it.
And
I
so
mean-
only one person can do the ritual per round?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can do an attack if you want. I mean,
Yeah,
could-
I'll just be like, "Ha! Back, you fiend!" And I'll pull my revolver and I'll shoot the goat.
all right, go for it.
man.
Goat. So you're going to make a ranged combat and precision roll.
Okay.
You got to get Victor to bless your bullets.
Oh man.
Dip them in.
Oh.
Precision. So that's
Dip them in
totally-
Yeah.
his.
We've done
what's-
it before. It's worked before.
Should I
But
go
he
physical
blessed
or
his
owlbear?
crucifix this time around.
What's the alcohol that's in your flask? Get him to pour.
Akavit.
Yeah, get him to pour a little of the akavit on your
It's
bullets.
basically holy water if you think about it.
Okay,
So what you got, Andy?
come on, that would have been a 6.
And don't forget, you have -1 dice because of your condition.
Okay. 1 success.
All right, that's good enough. So you fire, and you hit him. How much damage do you do? What's the damage
It
on the
does
gun?
2 damage. Oh, I get a +2 bonus for that.
All
So
right.
do I get a +2?
You get a
Because I
+2
already
bonus.
Took away my 1.
So
Okay.
+2 damage to roll or to damage?
It just says +2 bonus. I assume that's extra dice.
No. So if the weapon says +2, it's because it does +2 damage,
Oh, okay. So a total
right?
of
So yeah. So
4
you hit.
damage.
So you do 1 damage
Okay.
normally, and then you do +2.
Well, it says 2 damage. For a
Okay. So there you go.
revolver.
Oh.
For a
So no. So
pistol or-
then the 2 is that. So then yeah, you would have gotten the +2 dice to hit with it. Sorry.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
gonna say I think he gets both.
Yeah.
+2 to attack
So-
and +2 to damage.
So you're good.
Did you finally get a 6?
Roll 'em.
I just rolled 2 6s.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. So I do.
So
I
it's a
also
total
do.
of 3 6s.
All right, so I do this thing in this game that's not in the rules, but it's kind of my house rules. When someone rolls 3 6s, which is the number of the beast, something
Oh.
absolutely critical happens. All right, and so
Okay.
you go back, you foul beast, and you extend your hand and you aim at this guy and you shoot. And as he's kind of backpedaling away from the priest, he looks up at the sound of your voice, and the bullet hits him right in the forehead, and his neck steps back, and he falls back on the ground. And he does not move.
Keep working.
nice shot, Doctor.
Yeah.
Keep working.
We know that doesn't keep Vaesen down. So
You know that doesn't keep Vaesen down, no.
for what it's worth, Andy, you could also use one of those successes in other instances to like make him drop his
Oh.
weapon and stuff like that. So
Oh, I forgot about the hammer.
That's okay, but this
all
worked
right.
out with the 3
this
6s.
worked
So,
out. So
so I'm going to cut in here because you're going to continue doing the ritual, you know, putting the body in and all that, and he's not moving. He's just lying there. And then you're going to throw the gold coin in, and, you know, you're going to start ringing the bell, and he's not moving. And then you're going to say Nicholas's name 3 times, and then he's still not moving. And then the bell, the 3rd ring, just echoes out through this dark, sort of empty graveyard. And then it's just quiet.
She's still there.
The body's still there, yeah.
The goat.
Yeah.
Victor will approach it with crucifix held in front of him, closer and closer. And he will be
Not
chanting
moving.
in Latin. He'll be saying he has a whole thing in Latin that he goes through. Most glorious Prince of Heavenly Armies, Saint Michael and the Archangel defend us in our battle and in our wrestling against the principalities and powers, against the rulers of the world of this darkness, against the spirits of wickedness, high places. And he just continues like ranting these Latin phrases.
So
Part of
as you approach him,
prayers.
you'll see he's not moving. There's blood running out from the wound. You'll see he's holding in his hand what at first you thought was a hammer, but actually looks like a judge's gavel or something. And as you approach him, the coat is kind of open, and you can see that one of the legs is encased in this weird metal frame that kind of is sort of strapped around his leg to kind of support it and give it strength.
What is this? And I'll reach down and grab the I guess the cloak and pull it open to reveal.
As you pull it open, the head sort of falls back, and you can see that it looks like some sort of mask. And
Son of a bitch.
there,
the nerd kid.
Ansgar Gustafsson,
Ansgar. God damn it.
I just
lying dead.
Ansgar.
shot straight in the forehead by the doctor's well-aimed shot.
Wow.
Knew something was up with that guy.
Yeah, he was sus.
He was sus.
He wouldn't let me back
Super
into the
sus.
office.
Super sus. And
Oh my
so
God.
as you pick up the pieces, what you will come to realize is that Anders, after having killed his brother, in order to make sure that the alderman of the town would help him cover the crime and not pursue injustice, had made a deal with all of them to give them a plot of land in exchange for their help in covering up his murder, the murder of his brother. And basically they were holding on to it until the last minute to make the most money off of it before they sold it to the timber company, which is why they were kind of stalling them and so on and so forth. And what you will come to discover is that young Gustafsson at some point realized this going through the paperwork, and realized that these papers were hidden. They were signed, but they were not filed anywhere. And basically anyone who had those papers would own the land. All he had to do was get rid of the various people that that knew about it. And so he concocted this whole thing, and all those things that had come from other places was him putting together his frame for his leg, putting together the mask, and his cloak and all that. And something that you didn't get, but if you'd gone into the lawyer's office and gone into where you put all the gold stuff, because that's why you had the gold coins. I thought you were going to go there to get a gold coin. You would have found a plaque, and here I'll put it up on the VTT. You would have found a plaque like this that says, "To Master Lars Nilsson, King's Court, Golden Gavel Award, 1830," with those two little divots where the gavel would normally rest.
It was that was the murder weapon.
That was the murder weapon.
Wow.
And he had it hidden.
How is he headbutting people though?
He was using that gavel. And it's made of gold. It's made of gold, so it hits like a.
It's heavy.
Yeah. And so in the aftermath of this, Anders will confess to the crime and all that, and will say that he realizes that he did wrong and so on and so forth. And we'll say that if you can bring him to justice if you want, but before you do, he would like to do one last thing for these people that he hurt. And if you'll allow him, he'll go back home and he'll get his horse and he'll get his sleigh and he'll pull out his brother's sleigh that he used to use to distribute gifts to people around the town. And he will hitch up his horse and he'll put on his big red coat and climb on there, and he will go from house to house and bring food and toys and stuff for the kids and spreading out throughout the city. And then once he's done with that, he will tell you that if you want, you can bring him to justice, bring him back to Uppsala.
I think Victor would probably encourage him to make a confession before God, to confess, and atone. And so that might happen. He also might be willing to suggest that they allow Ander to simply disappear back into the woods after that confession, if he feels like it's sincere enough.
And what do the rest of you think you would want to do? Would you want to bring him to justice, or?
Yeah, the doctor would want to bring him to justice, and he would allow him to distribute gifts at gunpoint.
Oh shit!
So,
all right.
So it would be Nicholas.
Escorted.
It would be Nicholas in his sleigh with the Tomten in the back, the little elves hanging out the present, and the
with a
freaking
38
doctor with
stuck in his ribs.
Oh my god, that's brilliant.
And so the Tomten are the ones who deliver the presents, but no one can see them, so they just kind of slide down the chimney and bring in the presents. And
Well done, team.
what about? Oh, hold on, I want to know what the other ones would do. So, what about you, Gabriella? What would you do? Would you want him turned in, or?
I think that he should get turned in. But I will write a letter to the judge that says that please be understanding that this was an accident, and that
For Anders,
because he didn't intend to kill his brother, and though he did keep it a secret because he was scared, and hopefully they will go a little lighter on him.
Okay. And Friedrich?
I think Friedrich would, counsel the man that it's good for his conscience and good for the world turn himself in and serve with time and all of that. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, he's going to use his wealthy family connections to ensure that the judge that ends up overseeing the case is one that is favorable to his family, and sees that the man gets the lightest sentence that he could possibly get.
All right. Well, he will insist on turning himself in, I think, after he does this, and he will donate the rest of his family's money to Mother Petra and the church, and tell her to build a nice place for the orphans, and to make sure that from now on, every Christmas, every Yule, people have food and presents and so forth. And he will willingly follow you to Uppsala to face justice, and he will get a light sentence, but certainly as an old frail man, but now feeling a little bit lighter, will perhaps within the first year of his incarceration die peacefully, go and rejoin his brother, wherever people like this go.
I'm still suspect of that priestess lady, though, because she also got a plot of land.
You know. Very good, guys. Thank you very much. That was Julsang.
Yeah, that was great.
Good job, putting all those pieces together and getting it together. Hope you had a good time. Thank you so much for a chat. I do believe we have another thing to do. How about we do a little round of reintroductions of everyone, and then we can finalize. Dave, you can take it away and finalize the last draw. Would you like to do that?
Oh yeah, we got one more drawing.
One more
That's right, we
drawing,
got
yeah,
the
and this
grand
one's
prize
like the
drawing.
grand prize. It's a physical copy of Vaesen, actually, along with the digital copy. So that's a pretty schwanky prize. So let's go back around the table. We'll start with Andy, who's got
I got
puppers.
my dog.
A
Hey,
puppy.
So Andy, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's going on?
Hey everybody, my name is Andy, also known as Andy G3D, here on Twitch. You can find me here playing games on Tuesday nights in the Heroes of Greyhawk. We're having lots of fun over there. Come check it out. And yeah, I had a blast tonight, and I'm looking forward to playing more games with all of you guys in the new year.
In the new year. Cool. Thank you very much. What's the pupper's name?
Mabel.
Mabel.
Hey.
She's bugging me big time to take her outside right now.
She looks a little bit like a tomte. Ashley, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's going on? What's happening?
Hey everybody, I'm Ashley, Minnesota Muse 99 on Twitter, and you can find me tomorrow night for Heroes of Greyhawk as well. We've got big things happening, and then you can find me on Wednesday night for New Varden for a whole new alien world with alien creatures and characters that you have not seen in regular D&D. So come by and stop and see us on Wednesday.
Awesome. Miko.
Yeah, it's me with my little kitty cat Crook, here to say goodnight to everybody. Yeah, you can find me here doing all kinds of things. Catch me on Twitter or our Discord's links will be going out in the chat soon as I do the actual producer things and press the button and all that. And yeah, this was tons of fun. I'm glad we got to do this. And for everybody, in case I don't get to talk to you again, I hope you have a wonderful evening, week, month, year, and beyond. Happy holidays to all of you.
Awesome. Thanks. And before I kick it back to Dave, I am Bleakseason. You can find me online at the Bleakseason on Twitters and bleakseason.com, my little website where I talk about all things Shadesong. Got big plans for the new year, a whole new Shadesong series with a core group of cast members, all very awesome players, as well as a Vaesen campaign that I'll be running here, a 5-part campaign that will be starting in January also. So tune in for more of that Vaesen Madness. Before that, Tuesday, I'll be on Heroes of Greyhawk with my dwarf, Lachlan Feldspar, and hanging out with all my friends, with Xanthi and her friends in Hamlet, in Uncle Dave's World. I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with us. I want to thank Free League for the gifts and the sponsorship. Thank you guys in the chat, and good luck on this draw. And I will kick it over to Uncle Dave. Happy holidays, everyone. Also, although I'll see you tomorrow, so I'll tell you happy holidays tomorrow. Off to you, Dave.
Hey, Bleak, thank you so much. That was super fun. I had a blast playing in this cool setting, so dark and beautiful. My name's Dave. I play games, produce games, run games here on Guild Superior with my friends. As you can see, all these great people and so many great folks that have joined us in 2022. It has been an amazing year for Guild Superior, just the amount of content and the number of people that we've been able to connect with and play games with. It's been absolutely inspiring. It's what I've always dreamed of for Guild Superior, and this crew right here on the screen that you can see is making that happen. So thank you all for producing and creating and telling stories and being part of the games and part of the community. We do have an awesome community over on our Discord server. We encourage you to come over and get involved. I think Miko's going to drop a link in the chat for us. We have a lot of fun people over there. Come over, hang out, talk about TTRPGs and nerdy stuff with us, get involved in some of our games. It's where we oftentimes recruit players from, and we would love to play with you guys. So please do that. If you aren't following us, please do. Thank you all for being here in the chat. We really, again, I'm just going to shout out, I know they've been thanked many times, but massive shout out to Free League Publishing for creating these worlds for us to play games in, and for donating some pretty kick-ass giveaways. So I'm not going to belabor the point. We're going to give away a PDF version of the core rule set for Vaesen, along with a physical copy of the book. So this is it, guys. If you want to get in on this action, go ahead and go ahead. Ash,
for the physical copy, is there any kind of like geographical locations?
They're
like
going to ship through we're going to give
states, or
we're going to give all the information I got is we're going to give the email addresses to Free League, and they will ship it through drive-through RPG.
Yep.
So I'm assuming it's gonna go wherever. If there's an issue, they'll let us know, and we'll see what we can happen.
We'll
as
figure
far
it
as
out then.
Cool.
But yeah,
Just
so
wanna
get
make
in on the
sure.
action! Exclamation mark drawing to get in and get settled in for this giveaway. We're gonna do the 5-second countdown. Bleak, if you would, in your native tongue, please, with the creepy little guy. And here we go. Hey, Lee, Hawk 99.
Hello.
Congratulations, Lee. You're gonna love this content. It's so good. It is so good. I'll reach out to you after we're done here. We are going to raid into our friends Level 1 Geek. Thank you all for being here. We really appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow night for Heroes of Greyhawk.